Are internet speeds passing you by? Warp Networks Incorporated has a game plan for you. We provide high-speed wireless internet for both personal residences and businesses at competitive rates. Contact our team at 402-302-0436 or at JNS TV and Electronics at 402-336-3642. Warp Networks Incorporated, your locally owned wireless internet provider.
Welcome to another day in the middle of everywhere, where every second of sunshine, every dream, and every waking moment is everything we'll ever need. There's no place quite like our middle of everywhere. We're the bank that'll help you celebrate everything it brings. Because we're more than a bank in Nebraska. We're Nebraska in a bank. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be.
Ranchland Auto Supply is your locally owned and operated CarQuest store in downtown O'Neill, Nebraska. They have a large selection of parts and accessories to keep your vehicles and equipment running, including new heavy-duty truck parts to keep your truck in great shape for the long haul. Ranchland Auto delivers around O'Neill and to many local communities every day. Their employees are always ready to serve the community with a high level of knowledge backed by years of experience in automotive and equipment industry. Stop by or call Ranchland Auto Supply today and let a friendly part professional help you with all your automotive needs.
O'Neill Superfoods, located at 304 East Highway 20 in O'Neill, Nebraska. We are your local community connection for high-quality foods, friendly service, and great prices. And we now offer curbside pickup. It is a super simple and safe way to do shopping. Just follow these steps. First, go to superfoodsgrocery.net. Then select the correct superfood and you can start shopping. Our family-owned store offers a convenient one-stop shop where you can find everything you need from the everyday essentials to specialty items from around the world. We take pride in our community and appreciate your business, so shop at O'Neill Superfoods located at 304 East Highway 20 in O'Neill, Nebraska.
Stadium Sports is your one-stop shop in downtown O'Neill or online at www.stadiumsportso'neill.com. For all your everyday, all-day activewear needs, there is something for everyone. Specializing in screen printing and embroidery, we have a graphic artist and equipment in store to get all your ideas done in a timely fashion. Supporting all athletes and customers near and far, we value your continued support. Contact us today at 402-336-3245.
Who do you trust to take care of you during an emergency? With over 40 years of experience, Riser Insurance helps their clients professionally and efficiently. They specialize in home, auto, business, and life and health insurance, as well as farm and crop coverage and retirement services. Riser Insurance provides experience and excellence when you need it most. Stop in at 217 South 4th Street in O'Neill or call 402-336-1983 for all your insurance and retirement needs.
The Evergreen Assisted Living, located in O'Neill, Nebraska, helps seniors remain as independent as possible. Now, with the addition of 12 beautiful independent living apartments with 1 or 2 bedrooms, there are more choices for choosing the Evergreen as your new home. Enjoy the spacious community center, complete with movie theater and activities and game room, or enjoy the breathtaking courtyard. You can count on comfort, courtesy, security, and service at the Evergreen in O'Neill. Contact Dee today.
We're on our Dr. Pepper pregame, and the one thing about softball, we don't have the warm-up clock, so it's always a little bit difficult to tell when they're going to start. We're getting pretty close here to softball, though, as they're going to introduce these starters, and while they do that, on our Dr. Pepper pregame, we're going to go right into our we're going to go right into our Frickle Well Service starting lineups, then our M&M Lockers forecast. So let's start with St. Paul, the Frickle Well Service starting lineup for St. Paul. The leadoff hitter is the first baseman, Sidney Gawrick. Batting second and playing shortstop is Carly Veith. The pitcher, Charlie Wagner, hits third. More on her as we go along. Her sister, Addie Wagner, is the cleanup hitter. She's the third baseman. Batting fifth is a catcher, Taylor Paxton. The sixth hitter is Maddie Stepanek. She'll play in left field. Batting seventh, the right fielder, Ella Peterson. The eight hitter is Nora Paulson. And batting ninth for St. Paul is Kaylee Wells. St. Paul is coached by Kaylee Volk, assisted by Stephanie Holdsworth, Dave Prokash, Autumn Wagner, and Rayleigh Kopersky. And St. Paul comes in, a team, they return all their starters from a year ago. O'Neill did defeat St. Paul 11-6, but O'Neill also a much younger team this year. Now I'll have Haley set the O'Neill defense.
Starting out in the outfield, we got in left field, Brooke Reed. Then we got center field, Loretta Schofield. In right field, we got Emerson Monerick. Third base, we have Danny Rouse. Playing shortstop is Brooklyn Cahoy. Second base is Aubrey Blackburn. First base is Autumn Emmy. And then pitcher, Grace Druke, coming in because Riley Selby is sick. And then catcher is Harley Kinnison. A young team for sure.
Yeah, once again, your starting lineup is brought to you by Frickle Well Service of Atkinson. Yeah, good point Haley makes is I think originally O'Neill had planned to start Druke at third and have Riley Selby on the mound, but Selby, the sophomore, unable to be here tonight because of illness. The Eagles certainly hope she's back very soon. Now, we're going to get our national anthem here at the field, so we'll go ahead and take a break to hear from some of our sponsors, then come back with our M&M Lockers forecast and first pitch from Kearney Park.
You're clear.
Thanks, Craig. Perfect. Thanks. Finishing up our Dr. Pepper pregame, just about ready for softball. Haley Schlunch, you have our M&M Lockers of Bristow softball forecast, and it's going to change over the next couple of days, but let's just stick with today for now.
Okay, so for today we had a high of 77, a low of 56. It's currently 75 degrees. Tonight it's going to be clear with a low of around 61. North winds are 5 to 10 miles per hour, becoming south after midnight. Friday it's going to be sunny with a high near 91. Breezy with a south wind 15 to 25 miles per hour with gust as high as to 35 miles per hour.
Thanks again, Haley Schlunz there with our M&M Lockers of Bristow softball forecast. Just about ready to go here from Kearney Park. Glad to have you along on 102.9 FM on the internet at KBRX.com, and also Mitchell pushing the buttons back at the KBRX studio. The Eagles are out on the field as O'Neill has the blue jerseys on. I guess you'd call it kind of a royal blue jersey with the white numerals, the black pants, and they have the blue and white stirrup socks. Haley Schlunz, how would you describe those St. Paul uniforms?
I was a very confused girl at first. They're black, and then they have yellow and blue lettering, which I thought was purple at first when I looked at it.
That's what I thought as well. As definitely we've seen St. Paul maybe wear a little more blue and white, I guess, and yellow over the years, but they have the black on. tonight, as Haley described there, and just about ready to go here. And here's Sydney Garrich, the leadoff hitter, the first baseman on this very experienced St. Paul team. The Wildcats in Class C looking for a strong year this year against this young O'Neill team. And Grace Struke, the freshman, out there. First varsity game, she's out there in the circle. So, but an experienced player. She plays a lot of summer softball.
It's a lot of pressure.
Left-handed hitter is Garrick, and she's the first baseman. Outfield straight away with the left-hander. First offering is bunted, and it's foul. Kinnison wisely touches that one foul. Harley Kinnison, a sophomore, she's getting her first start, as a number of these players are. O'Neill actually lost 6 varsity starters off last year's team and 8 total seniors. So 0-1 the count to Garrick. Now, Haley Schlunz, you're a softball player. Did you play, or you're a volleyball player. Did you play any softball when you were younger?
I kind of stopped after T-ball, which is not saying much. So,
But if you were out there playing, what position would you like to play? 1-1 count, by the way, to Garrick. Kinnison throw to first, going to be a little bit late. That'll be an infield hit, as Garrick really got down the line in a hurry. And, of course, she had the advantage of being the left-handed box. She's a step closer to that 60-foot bases. 60-foot bases in fast pitch softball, and the pitcher's rubber is 43 feet from home plate. And Chuck Price checking with the plate umpire, Gary Davis. Not exactly what this is about, unless he was maybe asking whether Garrich was outside to the dugout side of the first base line. That's why that extra chalk that our Eagle Eye broadcasters viewers see. You have to run in that lane, so that allows your defense to be able to make a throw. They have that taken care of, whatever they were discussing there. So an infield single to start the game for St. Paul, and here's Carly Veith, the shortstop. You were mentioning the shortstop position where Brooklyn Cahoy is. Here's the St. Paul shortstop, Carly Veith, the 2-hitter in the order. Druke ready to deal the pitch. This one is in for a strike. There goes the runner, and down to second base safely is Garrich. So an 0-1 count on Veith and St. Paul with a runner in scoring position. Head coach for St. Paul, Kaylee Volk, in the third base box. One of the assistants is for St. Paul's Autumn Wagner, the former Autumn Hanson. This pitch is outside for ball one. 1-1. And former Autumn Hanson, a 2000 graduate O'Neill High School. And so we sometimes throw a trivia question out to our listeners and our viewers. And so it won't deal exactly with softball tonight. It's going to deal with track and field. This one's inside for a ball, and down to third as it got away from Kinnison goes Garrick. So Garrick just 60 feet away. She would represent the game's first run. We're in the top of the first. Runner at third and no one out for St. Paul, and Veith up there with a 2-1 count. Down the year, the grade that many of these O'Neill players are in as well, just to show how young this team is. Druke's pitch fouled off. Full count, 3-2. So at third base, Rouse for O'Neill, and she is
a sophomore.
Cahoy, you mentioned the shortstop's a junior.
Junior, yep.
Second base is Blackburn.
She is a sophomore as well.
Autumn Emmy at first.
She is a senior.
Yeah, one of the more experienced
A
players.
lot of eyes on her. She's one of our very big power hitters.
Ground ball to Cahoy. It's short. Throw to first in time. Strong arm for Cahoy. And 6-3. Veith gone for out number one. And to add to that, the runner at third, Garrick, unable to score there. But Coach Volk, I'm sure with nobody out, now one out, wasn't going to take any chances there, especially when you have Charlie Wagner coming up, good hitter, a 3-hitter in the order.
Yes.
She's the pitcher.
Yeah.
Kinnison, the catcher, he mentioned a sophomore. Druke, the pitcher.
She is a freshman.
This pitch to Wagner is called strike one. 0-1 to Charlie Wagner. And then in the outfield, in left field, I have to check. I think she is a senior. This one's down low. Of course,
Schofield is a junior.
She's a junior, correct. Sorry about that. She does attend St. Mary's. This is a co-op between O'Neill and St. Mary's. We'll talk more about Schofield when we get to the batting lineup as well. 1-1 to Wagner. And then in right field, Emerson Monerick.
She is a sophomore.
This one is up high for a ball. 2-1 the count to Charlie Wagner. So her mother, Autumn Hanson Wagner, 2000 graduate O'Neill High School, still has an O'Neill High School track and field record. We'll ask you to think about what record that is that Autumn Hanson Wagner still holds at O'Neill High School. 2 the count. Trukey's pitch. This one's a bit high for ball 3. 3-1 to Charlie Wagner with her sister Addie Wagner waiting in the on-deck circle. These teams did see each other this summer in O'Neill's summer camp, and they've played in the regular season for a number of years as well.
Yeah, we see St. Paul in volleyball tournaments as well.
Swung on and missed, so the count runs full on Wagner. And to add to that, O'Neill's football team plays at St. Paul a week from tomorrow. I was talking with St. Paul Activities Director Rob Wagner about that a little while ago. Trukey's pitch, this one's down low, so Wagner draws the walk, and so St. Paul has runners on the corners with just 1 out here in the top half of inning number 1. And here is Addie Wagner. Addie, she pitched some in the JV game, playing third base in this varsity contest, or at least that's where she's starting. I think St. Paul may be using a courtesy runner. We'll see if we can get that number at first base. They're running for the pitcher, Wagner, and we'll see if Haley Schlunz maybe can pick up that number. And those are sometimes...
She's turned sideways right now.
Yes, exactly. That's sometimes makes it kind of difficult. She's probably going to be running here on this pitch. As they sub that in here. So here's Addie Wagner with runners on the corners, 1 out, no score. Top half of inning number 1. Glad to have you. This one's down low, and that runner just
Number 3.
Jogs to second base, does that base runner, and
Number 3, Camden Sack. She's a junior.
Thank you. So she's in there as a courtesy runner. That puts him on second and third for Addie Wagner. So a golden scoring opportunity here for the Wildcats. This one swung on and punched up the middle. It's going to drop in for a base hit. Garrick in to score. Around third is Sack. They're waving her on. That she's going to hold on. Eagles have her in a bit of a rundown. She does get back to third safely. But Addie Wagner, and on the play, Addie Wagner moved to second base on that play on Sack at third. So credit her with a single and a run batted in for Addie Wagner. Now here's Taylor Paxton, the catcher.
Great throw by Grace Druke to Rouse. It was a close call.
Yes, it was. Just back safely. Shane Osborne, the base umpire, right on top of that one. So runners on second and third, just 1 out, 1-0. St. Paul has the lead. This one swung on, popped up on the left side, and Rouse makes the catch. She's fighting the sun there a little bit, but Paxton gone on 1 pitch for out number 2. And here is Maddie Stepanek, the left fielder, another right-handed batter. Garrick started with a single. Veith was out 6-3. Wagner walked, and they courtesy ran Sack for her. Then Addie Wagner, after Sack stole second, so it's down low for a ball. Addie Wagner with a run-scoring single. To Paxton, a soft pop out to third, and Stepanek ahead 1-0. Grace Druke, the freshman, stands back in. A lot of these O'Neill players played on that NCN Lightning summer team. This one swung on and fouled back out of play. 0-2 to Stepanek. Now, if that happens at Fred, the listeners may have heard that ball hit the roof here at the press box here at Kearney Park. When that happens in Legion Baseball, I always say the sponsor who put the roof on, but I don't know if they did it here, so I'm not sure who did the roof here.
There's always kids running for those balls.
Yeah, here they don't. This is a 1-2 guy. I don't think they give a quarter here like they do at the Legion games, do they?
I don't know for sure.
I was at an area tournament this year where they were giving $1.
Wow.
So inflation has even hit the foul ball industry.
Right.
Yeah. 1-2 to Stepanek. Runners on second and third. Here, I think you just do it for the love of the game. You just bring them back.
Of course.
This pitch looked like it slipped out of Druke's hand, so it's low for ball 2. 2-2 to Maddie Stepanek, right-handed batting left fielder. Outfield straight away for her. She is the 6th hitter in the St. Paul order. Peterson waiting on deck. Druke trying to get out with no further damage done. This one's high and tight for ball 3. So she's run the string out on Stepanek, the left fielder. Does have a base open, so a walk would not be the worst of scenarios here. As Druke looks into the dugout, as does Kinnison. O'Neill usually signals the pitches in from the dugout. Now there's timeout on the field. And Aubrey Blackburn, The second baseman is running over to the dugout. Not sure if she's not feeling well or something there appears
She's
to be
holding her
right.
nose.
Okay.
Maybe she got hit.
Could have been one of those ravenous mosquitoes that are so common here at Kearney Park. We're not sure. Hope it's nothing too serious, but it looks like now that O'Neill has subbed someone else in. It looks like Darcy Babutsky maybe has gone into second base,
Yes, that's Darcy.
and she is a sophomore. So one sophomore, Blackburn out. I'm not sure exactly, but as Haley said, she had the face mask off, and she was, appeared to be rubbing her nose, maybe her eye. We're not quite sure there with Aubrey Blackburn. Certainly hope she's okay. I understand there is some sickness going around as well. This pitch is down low, and there is the walk. So Stepanek aboard. That does set up a force anywhere for the Eagles with Ella Peterson, the right fielder, now coming up there. Bases loaded, 2 outs. A run across for St. Paul. We're in the top half of inning number 1 cast season. An event was held at O'Neill High School earlier today at the O'Neill Country Club, actually, O'Neill Lady Eagles golf team. And we'll pass some results along there as we get a chance. Haley has those, as this one's up high for a ball. 1-0 to Ella Peterson. Peterson, the right fielder, stands back in. Truckee checks the wristband. She has a lot of family here tonight watching. This one's upstairs for ball 2. Eagles would love to get out with just one run across for St. Paul. Top half inning number 1. St. Paul won the JV game that started about 4:30 this afternoon. The pitch. This one's way high back to the screen. There goes the run of the plate. Kinnison dives and got her. A great dive by Harley Kinnison to get the courtesy runner sack at the plate. And the Eagles get out with no further damage done. For St. Paul in the top of the first, a run on 2 hits. There were no errors and 2 runners left on base. After happening a play, your Pinnacle Bank score, it is St. Paul 1 and the O'Neill Eagles coming to bat. Back to Kearney Park after you listen to these messages.
There's no place quite like our middle of everywhere. We're the bank that'll help you celebrate everything it brings. Because we're more than a bank in Nebraska. We're Nebraska in a bank. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be.
Do you have someone special in your life and want to treat them to a floral arrangement? Then ponder no further, because Twig Flower and Gift is located at 301 East Douglas Street in downtown O'Neill. They can accommodate all of your flower and gift needs, from plants, wine, gifts, and much more. Twig has got you covered. Contact 402-336-4497 or visit twiggift.com for more information. Twig Flower and Gift, 301 East Douglas Street, downtown O'Neill, Nebraska.
Life is about waking up to a brand new dream. We're the local bank that's with you, wherever it leads. Because we're...
Haley Schlunch, you have the batting order for the Eagles.
Yes, starting it off, we got Loretta Schofield as our first hitter. Second is senior Brooke Reed. Then we kick it over to Brooklyn Cahoy. Then another senior, Autumn Emmy, one of our very big power hitters, known for her home runs. Then we got Grace Drucke, the pitcher for tonight, Danny Rouse, Aubrey Blackburn, and then we got Sydney Burkle, a St. Mary's girl, and then kicking it over to Emerson Molnaric.
And we have yet to see the Blackburn will bat. It may be Babutsky, because Blackburn left in the top half of that inning. We're not quite sure why Babutsky came in. They could re-enter, though, Blackburn, if she's okay. Here's Loretta Schofield. We'll set the St. Paul defense in just a second. And Schofield, when you think Loretta Schofield, you think left-handed batter, and you think speed. This one's down low. Giving her a walk is almost like putting her on third base. State qualifying sprinter last spring for the St. Mary's Cardinals. And again, she's in that left-hand box, so a step closer to first base. Wagner's second offering. This one swung on and hit foul for strike one, 1-1. And that's the old saying in baseball and softball, you can't steal first. Yeah, you have to get there first. But Schofield, very good on-base percentage last year. Played some in the outfield and was used a lot also as a courtesy runner for O'Neill because of that speed. 1-1 count to Loretta. The pitch. Peterson in right. Addie Wagner at third. Veith at short. Wells at second. Gallrick at first. And a battery made up of catcher Taylor Paxton and pitcher Charlie Wagner. The pitch. This one swung on, hit foul down the first base line. So the count holds at 1-2 on Schofield. Wagner talked about her mom, Autumn Wagner. She played summer softball, and as you might have guessed, she was a pitcher. And so I'd have to think that in the backyard there at the Wagner house in St. Paul, they probably worked on a lot of pitching with their mom, both Addie Wagner and Charlie Wagner. The pitch. This one swung on, fist to the left side, and a great diving catch by Addie Wagner, the third baseman. She came on and dove to catch that soft liner from Schofield. And so 1 up, 1 down here for the Eagles in the bottom half of inning number 1. Here's Brooke Reed, the left fielder, a player that Haley Schlunz may have eaten lunch with today.
Very true.
Wagner, the pitch. Down low for ball 1. Reed, one of just a few seniors on this young O'Neill team. Brooke Reed played some last year in left field and right field for this O'Neill team. She's had 1-0 in the count. Very open stance for Brooke Reed. 2-0 the count. And Haley, you do a lot of work with some with KBRX, but also with Eagle Eye Broadcasting. But you play volleyball, so you probably don't get to do a lot of volleyball broadcasts.
I get to do C team and JV, and then not varsity because I have to start, warming up.
Exactly. Yes. Swung on and missed for strike one to Reed. Yes, good point. You do get to do some JV and C team, and then Eagle Eye Broadcasters probably know you a lot for basketball as well.
Yes, that's my strong suit.
Yeah. Wagner, down 2-1 in the count. The pitch. This one's down low, so Brooke Reed jumps ahead in the count. 3 balls, 1 strike, with Brooklyn Cahoy, the shortstop, waiting in the on-deck circle. The experienced players from last year's squad are the top 4 hitters for the Eagles in this one. The pitch. Swung on and lined sharply out of play on the right side, so the count runs full on Brooke Reed. St. Paul pushed a run across in the top half of inning number 1, a game scheduled for 7 innings. We got underway at, about 6:15 or 6:20, somewhere in there. Wagner's pitch. This one's down low, and the Eagles have their first base runner in Brooke Reed, who walks. She'll go to first and get some congratulations from Coach Alex Miller, O'Neill head coach Chuck Price in the third base box, Aaron Boyle in the dugout. And here's Brooklyn Cahoy. She's a shortstop. She was also O'Neill's starting shortstop a year ago.
She's always been a very important aspect to the team.
Yeah, good point you make. As she shows bunt, pulls back, and takes it down low. Strong throw from the catcher. I'm guessing Chuck Price probably knew that Paxton had a strong arm from watching her during the summer. If there was any doubt, Paxton showed it right there. She fired through, even though the runner at first, Reed, did hold. And a 1-0 count on Cahoy. Yeah, Cahoy came in and played quite a bit toward the end of her freshman year at third base when Emma Reed was injured. Cahoy again shows bunt, pulls back, takes that one for a called strike 1. One of the senior starters that O'Neill lost to graduation from a year ago, Brooklyn Cahoy's sister Harley, who I believe is now in college in Sioux Falls. She was a starting second baseman a year ago. And perhaps listening in and maybe watching on Eagle Eye Broadcasting. The pitch to Brooklyn. This one's upstairs, throw to first, close play, Reed got back. 2-1 the count now to Brooklyn Cahoy, a junior. Cahoy looks down to Chuck Price. He's been with this O'Neill fall program since it started way back in the fall of 2007.
And now 2 of the 3 softball coaches are basketball coaches.
A good point. Yeah, that's correct. Yep. As Aaron Boyle helping out with basketball. She did that last year, I guess, as well, did she? Yes. Aaron Boyle played for Chuck Price in this O'Neill program, a St. Mary's student, and then went on to play college softball at Mount Marty. This one swung on, spun out to the pitcher, had some strange English on that, some backspin, and they get Cahoy on a 1-3 putout for out number 2. Reed went to second on the play. They threw back to second base, but Reed did get back safely in a close play. So a runner in scoring position for the Eagles. And here's Autumn Emmy Haley's already talked about her power. A couple of years ago as a sophomore, Emmy, she hit a walk-off home run to win the Wayne game. So she definitely has that kind of power and had some good numbers as she fouls this one out of play down the right field line. Last year, Emmy, a 309 hitter. She was 17 for 55, drove in 15 runs and had 6 doubles. 280 hitter as a sophomore, and that walk-off home run a couple years ago, a game that I called with Tyler Holcomb a couple of Augusts ago. Emmy, right back in there, right-hander. Wagner. The pitch, change up a bit high for ball 1. 1-1 to Emmy. And that's the old softball, baseball adage. Don't throw the changeup to a weak hitter. You see the respect they have for Emmy there. Strong hitter up there. Definitely a power threat and has driven a lot of runs in her career. The pitch. Swung on line back up the middle.
And
Reed
smart.
around third, being waved plateward. There won't be a play at the plate, and Emmy drives in the first run of the season for the Eagles. A sharp single up the middle. So Emmy adds to her career numbers. Good base running by Reed as she rounded third and headed plateward. And Emmy, knowing that the first baseman wasn't near the bag, took a big turn. If that throw would get away, she would have taken second base. Here's Grace Drucke now trying to help her own cause as they dust off first base. Drucke, right-handed batting pitcher and just a freshman, so her first varsity softball game. Right-hander with an open stance. Talked to her brother during the JV game. Swung on and missed. Strike 1 to Drucke with Danny Rouse waiting in the on-deck circle. And Haley, have you seen Blackburn over there? She's probably in the dugout out of our view.
I do not see her.
So 0-1, to Drucke. Wagner, the pitch, swung on and popped foul back out of play and heading again for the roof here at Kearney Park. So that's going to have a few more dents in it more than, well, for sure it does already. And maybe a couple more. So far our windows that appear to be pretty new here, they've remained safe. 0-2 to Drucke with Rouse waiting on deck. 1-1 ball game. We're in the bottom half of inning number 1. Again, glad to have you on 102.9 FM KBRX O'Neill, on the internet at KBRX.com, and also big welcome aboard to our Eagle Eye viewers on Eagle Eye Broadcasting. Wagner's pitch, swung on and missed, strike 3. So Drucke gone swinging for out number 3. For the Eagles in the bottom of the first, a run on 1 hit. There were no errors and 1 runner left on.
There's no place quite like our middle of everywhere. We're the bank that'll help you celebrate everything it brings. Because we're more than a bank in Nebraska. We're Nebraska in a bank. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be.
Golf results for the O'Neill Invite. Haley, you have those.
In the number 1 spot, we have O'Neill's very own Kaylin Goffenbaugh with a score of 87. In 10th place, we have CC Manerick from O'Neill with a score of 103. Claire Popkeys in 12th place with a score of 106. And then finaling it out, we have in 15th place, Suhani Chahari with a score of 108, placing O'Neill as number 1 at the O'Neill Golf Meet.
Yeah, there's total, was it 401, I believe?
404.
404, excuse me. And then West Holt was second from our area.
With 411, and then Pierce in third with 423.
Okay, and then we're trying to run down some of those other medalists. We have a couple, I think, for at least 1 or 2 from West Holt as well. So if you have those, we'll have you read those too, Haley.
In 5th, we have...
That was Denelli Canoost. I hope I'm pronouncing that first name right.
With a score of 97.
I bet it's Delaney Canoost. I just glanced at it. Delaney Canoost. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
And then we have 8th, Abby Mathis with a score of 103. And then Brooklyn Butterfield with a score of 103 in 9th place.
We're underway here in the result. Kaylin Goffbach, she continues her winning ways. St. Mary's student who, is she about a junior now?
She's a senior.
She's a senior. Wow, where's the time go?
Right.
But she continues her outstanding golf career, getting the win here in the first meet of the year with an outstanding score of 87.
She's very impressive.
Nora Paulson takes the first pitch up high from Drucke. She's the 8 hitter and the center fielder. Swung on, hit in the air to left center. It's going to fall in front of the left fielder, Brooke Reed, so a single, and then the throw gets away, and we may have the game's first error. We do. As a throw back into the infield got away, and down to second goes Nora Paulson. So that'll be a single, and then an error. Paulson in scoring position for Kaylee Wells, the second baseman. Wells, the 9-hitter in the order, the last regular in the St. Paul lineup to come to the plate. St. Paul pushed a run across in the very first hitter of the game. Garrett singled, then eventually came around to score on Wagner's single. Bunt, Drucke fields it one play to first to Emmy in time, and a smart play by Autumn Emmy to run the ball right back into the circle. Don't throw it unless you have to. That's kind of one of the golden rules of baseball and softball. On the play, Paulson moved to third.
And these O'Neill girls have a great connection as well, which helps them on the field and off the field.
So, yes, so we'll call that a sacrifice bunt, although you could argue that the runner was already in scoring position at second base, but we'll call it a sac bunt. Down low, the pitch to Garrick. So now 2 outs and a runner at third for St. Paul. But, of course, now with the runner at third, St. Paul knows the possibility of a wild pitch pass ball back in the first. Now, when you played T-ball, did you play here at Kearney Park, or at one time they played the T-ball up in the north fields?
I believe it was the north fields.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think it was just a few years ago they switched here to the south. Ground ball to short, glove by Coy, nice play. Throw to first in time, and St. Paul gone in the top of the second. A 6-3 put out there on the ball. It was hit pretty hard, and Coy playing a bit in really did some nice glove work there. Fired it over to Emmy, and St. Paul gone in the second. No runs on one hit. There was an error and one runner left on base. After an inning and a half of play, Pinnacle Bank score. It is St. Paul 1, O'Neill 1. Back with the bottom half, inning number 2, after you listen to these messages.
Contact our team at 402-302-0436 or at JNS TV and Electronics at 402-336-3642. Warp Networks Incorporated, your locally owned wireless internet provider.
You're live.
Welcome back to Kearney Park as a throw from Paxton goes through to second base. And here in the second, the Eagles ready to send up the 6, 7, and 8 hitters. That's Rouse. Blackburn, is that her back in the on-deck circle there? It may be Aubrey Blackburn back in. She left the game defensively in the top of the second. They subbed Babutsky in for her, but it looks like that may be her as Danny Rouse, the third baseman, stands in. So the 6, 7, and 8 hitters in a 1-1 ball game. Wagner's pitch swung on and missed for strike one. 0-1 to Danny Rouse. Sophomore getting her first varsity start. She's the third baseman. So playing the hot corner, which that maybe will Stepanek to make the catch. So Rouse hit it right on the nose, but Stepanek was right at her, and she made a nice catch there in straightaway left field for out number 1. And now here is, we'll check this and see who's coming up to hit. This actually is Burkle. So wait and see in the on-deck circle. Swung on and missed. For strike one, Sydney Burkle now bats for O'Neill. And it looks like Molnaric in the on-deck circle. Swung on, popped up in the infield. Wagner, she has the play for out number 2. So a pop-up to the pitcher for out number 2. And here is Emerson Molnaric. And then they're going to bat the catcher, Kinnison. So they just moved him up in the order. So Kinnison will bat for herself. They were using a designated player for her to start the game, but when Blackburn left, that changed. So Burkle, now here's Emerson Molnaric, and she takes it down low for ball 1. 1-0 to Molnaric. Nobody aboard, 2 outs for the Eagles here, bottom half inning number 2. The pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 1. 1-1 the count on Emerson Molnaric. Now, Haley, you were telling us during the break that when you played T-ball, you played for the Red Sox. Are you a Major League Baseball fan of the Red Sox?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This one, a bit high for ball 2. They're not having quite the year that they would like to, according to their standards, but they were a World Series champion just in 2018. So,
Yeah.
if you have Mr. Brown in class this year,
Me?
yes.
Oh, no, I do not have
I was
Mr.
going to
Brown.
say you might get some bonus points if you did. He is a big Red Sox fan.
That's true.
2-2 the count to Emerson Lennerick.
Maybe for study hall, but not any
There you
other
go.
major classes.
And they give it that as a pass-fail, I assume, right?
Yes.
Okay. The pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 3. So Monerick and the Eagles gone in the second. No runs, no hits, there were no errors, and no runners left on base. After, to complete your Pinnacle Bank score, it is the Eagles 1, St. Paul 1, back to Kearney Park after you listen to these messages.
Sports is your one-stop shop in downtown O'Neill or online at www.stadiumsportso'neill.com. For all your everyday, all-day activewear needs, there is something for everyone. Specializing in screen printing and embroidery, we have a graphic artist and equipment in store to get all your ideas done in a timely fashion. Supporting all athletes and customers near and far, we value your continued support. Contact us today at 402-336-3245.
The Evergreen Assisted Living, located in O'Neill, Nebraska, helps seniors remain as independent as possible. Now, with the addition of 12 beautiful independent living apartments with 1 or 2 bedrooms, there are more choices for choosing the Evergreen as your new home. Enjoy the spacious community center, complete with movie theater and activities and game room, or enjoy the breathtaking courtyard. You can count on comfort, courtesy, security, and service at the Evergreen in O'Neill. Contact Dee to
Ready to bat in the third. They will send up the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. That's Veith, Wagner, and Wagner. First pitch from Drucke, down low for a ball. Good ball game here, 1-1, as each team scored a run in the senior on the squad last year. O'Neill had 8. O'Neill won 11-6 in St. Paul last year to start the season. O'Neill, I believe, 13-11 a year ago. This one's up high for a ball, so in danger here of issuing a free pass to the leadoff hitter here in the third, St. Paul shortstop Carly Veith. She looks down to Coach Volk in the third base box. Stands back in. The pitch is down low for a ball, so Veith earns a 4-pitch walk. And here's Charlie Wagner. She's the pitcher. She walked, and then they used a courtesy runner sack for her, and that courtesy runner was stranded at third base back in the first.
Speaking of traveling, have you told the viewers and listeners that we have a charter bus now?
No, I have not, but everybody's pretty excited about that. I think the pitch was down low, and I should correct myself there. The courtesy runner sack, she was out 2 unassisted at the plate. She was trying to score on that pass ball, so she was not stranded at third. My correction there. Yeah, I bet a lot of people are pretty excited about that. And the softball team will probably be one of the teams that gets to use that at one point or another.
Yes.
This one's down low for a ball, 2-0, with the runner Veith at first base, 2-0 to Wagner. Drucke looks to the dugout. So does the catcher Kinnison. Wagner right back in there. We talked about her mom earlier. Haley, do you have any idea what, as there goes the runner, throw it over to the catcher, late break, and they got the runner at second base. It'll go 2-6 as Veith, that ball popped away from the catcher Kinnison for just a moment, and then Veith hesitated, and that cost her as she'll get caught stealing 2-6 for out number 1. And a 3-0 count, I believe, on the batter, Wagner. And do you have Autumn Hanson-Wagner, track and field? I'll give you the hint. I notice I said field as well. Do you know what record her mom might hold?
Long jump.
Is a very good guess. Triple jump, actually. Triple
dang
jump. Yeah, mark she set back in, about 2000, 37.5.
Wow.
Great jump. This pitch is high
That's
for a
very
ball.
impressive.
Yeah, she had a couple more, but they fell a couple years ago when your sister was a senior, actually. The 4x1, she was part of that record, and She was also a hurdle record as well, 100 hurdles, but still holds that triple jump record. And they're going to run sack for her again for Charlie Wagner.
And her kids are athletes too. It's in
Yeah.
the genetics.
Yeah, Addie. Yes, absolutely. Addie Wagner. She has the only RBI thus far for St. Paul in this contest, and she's up there now with Sack, the courtesy runner at first base, and that is Camden Sack. There goes the runner. They have a lot of confidence in her speed, and she slides in with a pop-up safely at second base. And Camden Sack, she is a junior. Got down the line pretty quickly there. The rule in softball is you can leave the base once the pitcher releases the ball. And if you watch over the course of a season, you'll probably see one or two runners get called out for leaving too early. This one's down low for a ball. So 1-0 the count to, 2-0 the count to Addie Wagner with Taylor Paxton, the catcher, waiting on deck. Gary Davis, the plate umpire. Very experienced umpire, well known also as the Neely Oakdale wrestling coach for many years in that highly successful program. This one swung on and missed for strike one. Sack had a notion at second base, but then held up. So 1-1 the count on Addie Wagner.
And Levi Drucke, Grace Drucke's brother, actually went to Neely and won.
And won state last year. I talked,
At
good
Neely.
point. Yes, state champion there. He was telling me, this one is a called strike too, telling me he starts, or at least goes to UNK tomorrow to start school. I thought maybe he would opt to be a junior high school history teacher, but he said that was maybe his plan B or something. 1-2 to Addie Wagner. The pitch. This one's fouled back. With 2 strikes, Wagner was taking no chances. She fouls it back to the screen. And Grace Drucke's, another brother is James Drucke. He does a lot of high school rodeo. I was talking about, this one's grounded to second base. Ground ball smothered by Blackburn. I think she's back in the game, and she fires to first. We'll check and see. That does look like Aubrey Blackburn there back in the ball game. 4-3 for out number 2 on the play. Sack, the courtesy runner, moves to third. I watch a lot of rodeo on the Cowboy Channel during the summer, and I was talking about the runner at first leaving. If they leave early, they're called out. You see that sometimes in rodeo where if the rider breaks the barrier in some of the events, they're disqualified. There's a 10-second penalty, I think is what it is. This one is outside for a ball. 1-0 to Taylor Paxton, the catcher, with the go-ahead run in the person of Camden Sack at third base with 2 outs here in the top of the third. 1-1 ball game between O'Neill and St. Paul. Grace Drucke, freshman pitcher, has thrown well tonight. Got this one underneath the hands of the hitter. That one is almost impossible to hit. A strike on the inside corner. Paxton, though, I think she knew there wasn't much she could do with that one. So she laid off it, and the count evens up 1-1. This one a bit high for ball 2. 2-1 to Taylor Paxton with Maddie Stepanek waiting in the on-deck circle. People, of course, already excited about Nebraska softball for the spring as Jordy Ball comes back to her home state after being on 2 national championship teams for Oklahoma.
The Sooners.
The Sooners, yeah. So but you're too young to remember the days. That used to be our rival and everything when we were both in the same conference.
I have heard.
Yeah, those were the days. 3-1. Some days, unfortunately, they were the Sooners' days. Some of those I remember. This one's lined up the middle, base hit, and that'll score a run. Sack, the courtesy runner, in to give St. Paul the lead 2-1, and Taylor Paxton with a sharp single. She'll get the RBI.
That was some very good news that she was coming back.
Yeah, Nebraska really excited about that, and they're going to run for the catcher, Paxton, too, and we'll see if Haley can maybe pick up a number over there at first base as well. This is a player, again, turned to our side, but they're going to courtesy run for the catcher. Gary Davis checking all that out. And courtesy runner, of course, has to be a player that's not otherwise in the game. And number 2, and that would be Allie Dugan, a freshman. This pitch is down low for a ball. And then if you do this radio and broadcasting and also the eagle eye, you probably notice sometimes you get the ponytail too. That sometimes adds to the problem as it covers up the number. Even if they turn with their back to you, you still sometimes can't see the number.
Yes.
This one is down low for a ball. 2-0 to Stepanek.
They got to whip their hair so that we can see.
Once they start running, usually that's when you can tell. Yep. Ella Peterson waits on deck. 2-1 St. Paul. We're in the top of the third. O'Neill and St. Paul know each other in a variety of sports. Of course, St. Paul, they come to O'Neill for the O'Neill Holiday Basketball Tournament as well, just a few days after Christmas. Pitches through for a strike. Good fastball from Drucke. Stepanek with the 3-0 count. She was taking all the way. So Drucke trying to come all the way back on the 6-hitter in the St. Paul order. O'Neill with Rouse at third. Cahoy at short. Blackburn back in there at second. There's ball 4. And down to second goes Dugan and Stepanek aboard at first. And so the Eagles not out of the woods yet with Peterson up there. Runners on first and second and 2 outs. Ella Peterson, right-handed batting right fielder, and now they're asking the base umpire to dust off third base to make that more visible. I was down here earlier today getting equipment set up, and O'Neill's new activities director, Nate Larson, was down here chalking the field, getting things ready to go. And the field 2 here in the 3-plex in very good shape. This one's a called strike 1. 0-1. This Kearney Park will also be the site of an O'Neill Softball Invitational. There's 8 teams. That'll be on September 16th. A day that Haley Schlunz probably has volleyball.
I'm guessing.
The pitch. This one swung on to third. Did Rouse catch it? She did.
Great maybe they catch.
Line drive there just off the dirt, and Danny Rouse gloves it for out number 3. So Peterson gone on a sharp line drive, allowed out to be sure to end the top half of inning number 3. But St. Paul does forge ahead. They get a run on 1 hit. There were no errors and 2 runners left on base. After 2.5 innings of play, your Pinnacle Bank score, it is St. Paul 2, O'Neill 1. Back to Kearney Park after you listen to these messages.
Internet speeds passing you by? Warp Networks Incorporated has a game plan for you. We provide high-speed wireless internet for both personal residences and businesses at competitive rates. Contact our team at 402-302-0436 or at JNS TV and Electronics at 402-336-3642. Warp Networks Incorporated, your locally owned wireless internet provider.
Life is about waking up to a brand new dream. We're the local bank that's with you, wherever it leads, because we're more than a bank in Nebraska. We're Nebraska in a bank. Pinnacle Bank.
Back to Kearney Park as O'Neill gets ready to send up the 9, 1, and 2 hitters. Kinnison, Schofield, and Reed. As Blackburn now the designated player for O'Neill. Doesn't look like she'll bat. So Kinnison, who originally was not going to bat in the original lineup, will hit for herself. She's the last regular on either team to get a plate appearance. This one's down low for ball 1. Harley Kinnison, right-handed batting sophomore catcher in her first varsity start. Understand maybe a little technical difficulty back in the studio, so we hope to have that taken care of here momentarily. Kinnison also has a twin sister, Bailey Kinnison, I believe, on this team as well. I'll check and see. Maybe I'll have Haley look at that. This one's grounded to short. Veith in to snag it. She fires to first in time, and Kinnison gone 6-3 for out number 1.
I don't see.
She may not be playing this year. Yeah, at one time I know she was a softball player. Was Bailey Kinnison? She does have a twin sister. I know that. So here we go back to the top of the order. Loretta Schofield with Brooke Reed waiting on deck. Loretta Schofield. Haley was telling us that Haley is a Red Sox fan and more veteran Red Sox fans. This one's a ground ball to short. Again, gloved by Veith. Nice play to get Schofield. Schofield really gets down the line quickly, and Veith able to throw her out by about a step. Schofield, though, wears number 27, and the Red Sox fans from Meyer will remember that was the number one by their great catcher, Carlton Fisk. But I'm certainly showing my age by saying that. Here's Brooke Reed. Reed with nobody more than 2 outs. This one's down low for ball 1. 1-0 to Brooke Reed. Brooklyn Cahoy waits on deck. Reed, she walked and scored. At this point, O'Neill's only run thus far. O'Neill trails at 2-1. Reed walked and scored on Emmy's single back in the first. The pitch. Swung on, bounced again to short. Veith done all the work this inning, fires it across 3-6-3 putouts, and that will end the third. No runs, no hits for the Eagles. There were no errors and no runners left on base. And Wagner, the pitcher for St. Paul, has now retired 7 in a row. Your Pinnacle Bank score after 3 complete. It is St. Paul 2, O'Neill 1. Back to Kearney Park after these messages.
Fall harvest means long hours for you and your equipment. You both need a fuel that can handle the pressure. So use Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster Premium Diesel from Farmer's Pride for more power, better fuel economy, faster starts, and special additives to help reduce downtime. What's more, when you do business with Farmer's Pride, you'll notice a personal touch that goes beyond the expected. Farmer's Pride, in the field, on your farm, in your community.
There's no place quite like our middle of everywhere. We're the bank that'll help you celebrate everything it brings. Because we're more than a bank in Nebraska. We're Nebraska in a bank. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be.
Two, you're live.
The 8, 9, and 1 hitters come to the plate for St. Paul. We're in the fourth. St. Paul leads at 2-1. Called strike 1 to Nora Paulson, the center fielder. Glad to have you along on 102.9 FM, KBRX O'Neill. Also on the internet at kbrx.com. And a big welcome aboard to our Eagle Eye broadcast viewers as well. Emily Morrow pushing the buttons for Eagle Eye, and Corey Mitchell back at KBRX Central. This one swung on a miss for strike 2, so a good start for Drucke here on Paul. She's up 0-2. Paulson singled back in the second, but was stranded at third base. St. Paul with a run in the first and a run in the third. O'Neill got a run in the bottom of the first. Change-up missed for ball 1. 1-2 to Nora Paulson with Kaylee Wells. Then Gawrick, if somebody would reach, Carly Veith would bat. Drucke, a long look over into the dugout and veteran coach Chuck Price. The pitch. This one hit her. So Paulson gets on base the hard way there as she was hit by that fastball. They'll attend to her, and she'll take first base. And Wells now comes to the plate. Kaylee Wells, second baseman. The umpires, of course, giving Paulson a little time. Looked like it maybe got her on the elbow or the forearm.
I think elbow would probably be the worst place to get hit by a fastball.
And that's what she's holding. Looks like she's holding her elbow right now. That's her left elbow. As they attend to her, Wells getting ready to stand in. Wells, a sacrifice bunt, back in the second. So officially, no official at-bats in this game. But she has that plate appearance that moved the runner. Ultimately, that runner, Paulson, was stranded at third base. Paulson looks ready to go. Pitch again, Wells showing bunt, but they may bunt again. That pitch got back to the screen, so Paulson is second, a 1-0 count on Wells. Last time, though, Wells was up there with a runner on second, and they elected to bunt the runner to third. And with nobody out in a close game, they may do the same thing again. And Wells is a left-hander, chance she could beat it out for a base hit. Has that open stance, pitch. This one's low. That time it looked like maybe she was entertaining thoughts of trying to get a slap hit, one of those almost running at bat, if you will. There's a little bit more of the batter's box in softball out in front of the plate than there is in baseball, and so you'll see sometimes those left-handed batters take a bit of a deep stance and then run toward the pitcher. This one's down low for ball 3, and got away from Kinnison for a moment, and down to third goes Paulson. 3-0 count now. As they run through the series of signals, a chance that maybe Wells would try to squeeze in that runner. But with no outs, St. Paul may try to play for a big inning. They lead it 2-1 here. Top half of inning number 4. Drucke, the pitch. This one's a fastball in the outside corner. Nice looking pitch there from Grace Drucke. So 3-1 the count. And again, a long look down to Coach Kaylee Volk in the third base box for St. Paul. The pitch. Showing bunt and then taking it up high for ball 4 was Wells. So they're on the corners for Gawrick, who is 1 for 2 tonight. She's put the ball in play both times. A single and a run score, then a 6-3 ground out.
And she stole second as well.
She took second there. Thank you. I looked down at my scorebook, and so Wells just takes second there, and the Eagles a little bit helpless to do much there with a runner on third base. Really don't want to trade an out for a run here. Gawrick, a left-handed batter. The pitch. This one's in for a called strike one. 0-1 to Sydney Gawrick. And so St. Paul threatening to put a little more distance between themselves and the Eagles here with runners on second and third and nobody out in the top half of inning number 4. Outfield, in left field, Reed playing in a couple of steps. Schofield, medium deep in center, and as is the right fielder, Milnarek. This one's fouled out of play on the right side. So Drucke up 0-2 on the count. This is really where the Eagles could really use a strikeout or a pop-up with nobody out. Gawrick steps out for a moment. Now stands back in. Veith, the shortstop, waits on deck. Drucke from the circle. The pitch. Swung on. Grounded weakly to third. Rouse was playing in. Throw it across to first. Is not in time, and the run will score. So Gawrick will reach on an infield single. Or did they call her? Did they call her out?
We got some cheering going on from our student section.
I looked away there. Did they call Gawrick? Was she out for being out of the batter's box? Is what I'm guessing. She was called out, and they send. I think they probably called her out for being out of the batter's box when she hit the ball. Is what I'm guessing. Coach Volk asking. Yeah, that's what they're looking at. That's exactly what the call was. It looked as if Gawrick, at first glance, had beaten out an infield single and driven in a run in the process. But Gary Davis says, no, she was out of the batter's box. And that's something we just talked about, how those left-hand hitters will sometimes take a bit of a run toward the plate. And, of course, if you're the offensive coach like Volk, Coach Volk did there, you say, well, hey, you know, the chalk's kind of disappeared out there and stuff.
Yes.
And everything. I'm sure that's what she was asking about. So a break there for the Eagles as Gawrick called out for being out of the batter's box.
It is a little difficult to see. I will give her that.
It's very difficult, yes. I remember one time years ago umping a game here that involved the Norfolk Golden Girls, and I think the boxes had actually been chalked wrong, and I said, well, we're going with what we have here. Where the chalk is, that's what we're going with, and that was a little bit to the dismay of their team. I remember that being a really close game. I think Atkinson won it like 1-0. Outstanding fast pitch game. Time called there as Drucke came to plateward, or was going to come plateward, but she was stopped by plate umpire Gary Davis. So still runners on second and third, still 2-1 ball game, and now 1 out for St. Paul. And Drucke trying to retire Carly Veith, who's put it in play twice. This one's down low for a ball, as Veith was out 6-3 in the first, and then walked but was caught stealing 2-6 in the third. So she's officially 0 for 1. Veith right-hander with an even stance, punches it foul out of play on the right side. So the count 1-1 to Carly Veith with Charlie Wagner waiting in the on-deck circle. Our eagle-eye broadcast viewers notice the fence. There's a fence inside of a fence here. This is the field O'Neill uses as her home girls fast pitch field. I think that's about 205 feet. I thought that's what I heard at one time, but it's not marked. This one's down low for a ball, but we've seen a few fly out of here off of Eagle bats over the years.
Yes.
Including that one that Emmy hit a couple of years ago.
And Emma Smith.
Emma Smith as well. Good point. Another one of those Eagle starters from a year ago. She, I think, had a couple of home runs on the road in her career as well.
I believe one of them was in Wayne.
And I think that's maybe where she's going to school now at Wayne State College.
Go
Ball
Cats.
3 down low. I'm a Shattern Stater myself. 3-1. But I've had a lot of friends over the years go over there to Wayne
Just ammo.
State.
Go Cats.
No, I'm good with it. That's been a long time ago there. The Dead Sea just had a cold back when I was in college, so it's been a while ago.
Yes.
Good to hear from Ron Jensen listening on KBRX as well. Welcome aboard wherever you might be. 3-2 the count here on Veith with Charlie Wagner waiting on deck. 2 runners on and 1 out for Carly Veith. The shortstop's comebacker. Druki fields it, comes to the plate, and out at the plate, an alert play by Grace Druki and by Harley Kinnison. And O'Neill now just an out away from getting out of this 4th unscathed. So Paulson gone, 1-2 for out number 2. On the play, Wells moved to 3rd, and Veith, who gets credit for reaching on a fielder's choice, alertly took 2nd base. Here's Wagner, though. O'Neill certainly not out of the woods here with a talented 3-hitter in the order. She's walked twice. You might think about walking her if you're O'Neill, but her sister's a very capable hitter, and she's over there in the on-deck circle. So you pick your poison, that's for sure. This pitch just a bit high for ball 1. 1-0 to Charlie Wagner with Addie Wagner waiting on deck. Charlie Wagner been on base twice, both times via the walk, and they courtesy ran for her both times. This pitch down low for a ball. 2-0 to Wagner. They'll be careful how they pitch her. Addie Wagner, if she can tag the runner out trying to reach base, and a pitch up high, and now 3-0 to Charlie Wagner.
And she's very quick with getting up as well.
Excuse me, 3-1 to Wagner. My correction there, that one pitch was called a strike. I thought that was the 4th pitch they'd offered to her, and it was. 3-1 the count to Wagner. The pitch, this one's outside for ball 4. So Wagner, for the 3rd time tonight, has walked, and we'll assume that for the 3rd time tonight, Camden Sack will run for her, and she will. Now it's Addie Wagner, who's 1 for 2 tonight, a single, an RBI single, and then a ground out. But now a force at any place for O'Neill. But the dangerous Addie Wagner up there with Paxton waiting on deck. Wagner stands in. Right-hander even stance the pitch. Outside for a ball. 1-0 the count. St. Paul with Wells at 3rd, Paulson at 2nd, and, Wells at 3rd, Veith at 2nd, and the courtesy runner Sack at 1st. The 1-0. This one's lined to short underneath the glove. It'll be a base hit. I thought Coy might have a shot at that one, but a solid base hit for Wagner. She's really attacked the middle, and that'll be a 2-run single for Addie Wagner. So she delivers in a clutch situation and now has 3 runs batted in this game. Would have been an amazing play had Coy been able to glove that.
The hard hits down the middle are hard to get to.
Absolutely, and she had the runner from 2nd to contend with there as well. So on the play, Sack went to 2nd, and Wagner with a sharp single. So in my scorebook, I'm crediting number 7 with 2 runs batted in there. And it's now 4-1 St. Paul. Pitch was a called strike 1 to Taylor Paxton, the catcher, who's 1 for 2 tonight. So St. Paul has opened up a 4-1 lead here in the top of the 4th. But a well-played game by these young Eagles coming in after losing 6 starters from a year ago. This one underneath the hands, 0-2 to Taylor Paxton. Paxton, right-handed batting catcher. Stands back in, right-handed with an open stance. Druki, the pitch. Change up, nearly dropped in, but it's stayed high for ball 1. 1-2 to Paxton. Stepanek waits on deck. St. Paul with a run in the 1st. They got a run in the 3rd, now 2 here in the 4th to take a 4-1 lead. O'Neill's lone run thus far came back in the 1st. This pitch down low, nice block by Kinnison. 2-2 the count. Taylor Paxton. I'm assuming when you played T-ball, softball, I'm assuming they rotated you around to all the positions, did they not?
Yes,
But
you
I
got
guess
to
you
play
would,
all the way around.
Right. But obviously, this one's grounded to short. Another chance for Cahoy. Cahoy will go the short route to 3rd and get the force. So Brooklyn Cahoy there with a nice job fielding that one. And she will go 6-5 to force sack the courtesy runner for out number 3. But some damage done by St. Paul here in the 4th. They get 2 runs on 1 hit. That was that big 2-run single from Addie Wagner. There were no errors and 2 runners left on base. After 3.5, Pinnacle Bank score, it is St. Paul 4, O'Neill 1. Back to Kearney Park after these messages.
Stadium Sports is your one-stop shop in downtown O'Neill or online at www.stadiumsportso'neill.com. For all your everyday, all-day activewear needs, there is something for everyone. Specializing in screen printing and embroidery, we have a graphic artist and equipment in store to get all your ideas done in a timely fashion. Supporting all athletes and customers near and far, we value your continued support. Contact us today at 402-336-3245.
Life is about waking up to a brand new dream. We're the local bank that's with you, wherever it leads, because we're more than a bank in Nebraska. We're Nebraska in a bank. Pinnacle Bank.
Paul leading O'Neill 4-1. Glad to have you, KBRX O'Neill Eagle Eye Broadcasting. And here's Haley Schlunz. She'll call the play-by-play on this batter.
Pitching for the St. Paul Wildcats. Here's the first pitch. And looks like we're going to have a foul ball off to the right.
So strike 1 to Cahoy. Cahoy, one of those players, played a starter last year. She hit 269 last year, 14 of 52, 11 runs, and 11 runs batted in.
And she's a very good shortstop as well. Here's the second pitch. And is that what?
0-2, yeah, 0-2 count.
0-2
yes.
count for Wagner.
A sharp single to right. So the Eagles have their leadoff batter on here in the bottom of the 4th. And Haley Schlunz, go ahead and call Autumn Emmy now coming to the plate.
Autumn Emmy, she's a senior, number 30. As I've said many times, a good power hitter for this O'Neill squad. We still got Charlie Wagner pitching and Coy on first. And that pitch is good. Autumn Emmy, good hit out to right field. And a great throw by right field to second base, but Cahoy stays on and is good, and Autumn Emmy is on first base with a great hit to right field.
So the first time in the game, the Eagles have had back-to-back hits. Yeah, and in defense of Cahoy, she had to wait because it looked like that the right fielder Peterson might be able to catch that, so she couldn't get too far off first base. So there was a danger there of the forced play at second, but Cahoy really hustled down there and just did beat that.
And next up, we have Grace Druke, our pitcher for tonight. She is a freshman. She is up to bat. We have Autumn Emmy on first and Brooklyn Cahoy on second.
Yeah, and Cahoy with 3 infield assists and also a putout in tonight's game, as you were talking about her defense a little while ago.
Here's the first pitch, and we got a bunt. It will go off the bat and a foul ball for Druke.
So Druke trying to move the runners there with a sacrifice bunt, and something the Eagles work on a lot is that small ball game. They've done that throughout the Chuck Price era.
0-1 count.
Druke steps out for just a second.
And here's the pitch, and it is going to be a foul ball out to right.
There were some youngsters over there running for cover. I think they heard that. They didn't see it. They heard the crack of the bat. I think some people said, heads up, yes. But that's the reaction is usually it's not heads up. It's usually what you say. Usually ducking instead of heads up.
0-2 count. Grace Druke.
So probably not going to be a bunt situation now with 2 strikes, but Eagles hoping Druke can at least move the runners here.
And then we'll have Rouse up to bat next. Here's Druke, hit right down the center, and a great catch by Nora Paulson.
So Drucke gave it a pretty good ride, but right at Paulson in center field, and it wasn't deep enough for either runner to tag.
And that'll be the first out for the O'Neill Eagles. We still have Autumn Emmy, the senior, on first base, and junior Brooklyn Cahoy on second, looking to get home. And we have Danny Rouse, the sophomore, up to bat.
And her only previous plate appearance, she hit a line drive. Now, it was right at the left fielder, but she really hit it sharply.
Here's the pitch, and that'll be a strike for Wagner.
And for O'Neill, those hits previously this inning by Cahoy and Emmy, just the second and third hits of the game for the Eagles.
And the pitch is off. Rouse swings again. Good strike down the middle by Wagner.
It looked to me like Wagner took something off that one, maybe a change up there. That's so much a key part of pitching, be able to change speeds and change location.
0-2 count with one out. And she hits that with her bat. It'll be a foul ball.
Yeah, good job there. As Rouse just got a piece of that one to foul it off. We could clearly hear Gary Davis letting everybody know that.
Good job by Rouse for staying alive. And the pitch is off. And that one hits the same part of her bat and is another foul ball by Rouse.
Yeah, such an important part of the game. It makes the pitcher work a little harder and so forth, and gives you a chance to see a better pitch. And the Eagles hoping Rouse can drive something somewhere.
And another foul ball for Rouse.
The third time she's fouled off an 0-2 pitch. I don't think pro baseball keeps a record of that, but I remember one time, I'm a big Twins fan. I remember Roy Smalley one time, way back, fouling off like 14 pitches or something like it. It was unbelievable. I've never seen a major league stat for that, though.
As long as you can stay alive.
Yeah.
And that one a little low for the pitch, and Brooklyn Cahoy steals third, and Autumn Emmy goes to second.
And that's big because now there's no force for St. Paul, for the St. Paul defense. 4-1, St. Paul leads it, bottom half inning number 4.
And here's the pitch by Wagner. Foul ball again for Rouse.
It's the fourth time she's fouled off a 2-strike pitch. This is really turning into the eighth pitch of this at bat coming up here for Rouse.
And here's the pitch, and that's going to be a strike. That is an out for the St. Paul Wildcats. And we have another out. Brooklyn Cahoy is out at third. A great connection there to Wagner to get Cahoy out and get 3 outs.
Yeah, and that'll go 2-1-5 for out number 3. And what started as a really promising-looking inning ultimately ends for the Eagles with nothing across. For O'Neill, the bottom of the 4th, no runs on 2 hits. There were no errors and 1 runner left on base. After 4, your score, St. Paul 4, O'Neill 1. Back to Kearney Park after these messages.
O'Neill Superfoods, located at 304 East Highway 20 in O'Neill, Nebraska. We are your local community connection for high-quality foods, friendly service, and great prices. And we now offer curbside pickup. It is a super simple and safe way to do shopping. Just follow these steps. First, go to superfoodsgrocery.net. Then select the correct superfood and you can start shopping. Our family-owned store offers a convenient one-stop shop where you can find everything you need, from the everyday essentials to specialty items from around the world. We take pride in our community and appreciate your business, so shop at O'Neill Superfoods, located at 304 East Highway 20 in O'Neill, Nebraska.
Paul, as we check our Pinnacle Bank score, leading the O'Neill Lady Eagles by a score of 4-1. Glad to have you on KBRX O'Neill on Eagle Eye Broadcasting as well. First pitch to Stepanek is outside for ball 1, as it's the 6, 7, 8 hitters for St. Paul. And Coach Kaylee Volk, I think she was still over giving her team some instructions as she now heads to the third base box. Excuse me, it's that with the first pitch was a strike, and then a strike 2, swinging strike 2 on Stepanek. So she's actually behind the count 0-2 as I stand corrected there. Stepanek Peterson, Paulson. If somebody reaches base, Wells would bat. Druki, the pitch. This one's upstairs for ball one. 1-2 to Maddie Stepanek, who has walked twice and been stranded at first twice in this game. St. Paul with a run in the first, 1 in the third, and 2 in the fourth. O'Neill, 1 back in the first. Grace Druki, freshman pitcher, pressed into action with an illness to Riley Selby, the sophomore. This one is down low for ball 2. I umpired once this summer when Selby was pitching, and I noticed that, I know she's worked a lot in the offseason, and I noticed her velocity had gotten a lot better. This one is upstairs for ball 3. Chuck Price usually brings me in once every couple years because it makes the players really, truly appreciate how great umpires like Gary Davis are and how below average I am.
I always say to respect your umpires and your refs.
Yeah, certainly a tough job at best. This one is upstairs for a ball, so Stepanek draws a walk. She's aboard, and St. Paul in 4 of their 5 at-bats, they've actually got the leadoff runner on, and that's usually a pretty good sign for the offense. O'Neill, this young O'Neill team has done a pretty good job of damage control, you might say, although they did surrender 2 in the fourth. An experienced St. Paul club here that figures to have a good year. Peterson, right fielder with a strong throwing arm, showed bunt, pulled back, and a nice job by Cahoy to block that one. Ball 1, but Stepanek had to hold on at first base. Grace Druki. This one, bunt is down. It's a good one. Picked up by the pitcher, Druki to first. They're going to say that Emmy was off the bag. So a sac bunt we could almost probably rule out an infield hit. I think I will. I'm not positive. Even if she were on the bag, they'd have got her. That was a really good bunt. So she was trying for the sac bunt. We're going to rule that an infield hit on a bunt for Peterson. And now here comes Nora Paulson. As even had Emmy been on the bag there, I'm not positive that that out would have been recorded. It certainly would have been a close play for sure.
It happened really fast.
Just not a lot of margin for error on these 60-foot base paths. That was a very fine bunt by Peterson. St. Paul, they actually play next on Monday against Grand Island Central Catholic, a traditional power in Nebraska. O'Neill goes to the Wayne tournament. Speaking of other Nebraska powers, Wayne with so many good teams over the years as well. So that'll be on Saturday for O'Neill. Next action for St. Paul is on Monday. We'll be back here at Kearney Park next Tuesday night for softball. I believe that's Wisner Pilger O'Neill. This one's down low for ball 1 to Paulson. So 1-0 the count with Kaylee Wells, and again, Paulson showing bunt. And then Wells on deck. We might see a couple more bunts yet this inning. Danny Rouse at third base, way in front of the bag to guard against the bunt. Paulson single back in the second, shows bunt and fouls it off. And that's what Eagles would love to get, one of those pop-up bunts to record an out. Nobody out, 2 aboard for Wells waits on deck, and St. Paul looking to add to their 4-1 lead. We're in the bottom half inning top half inning number 5. And now Chuck Price will take time out to talk with his young team. Druki, the pitcher, who's thrown pretty well tonight, pressed into service in a game until about 7th period today. I think she thought she was going to be playing at third base. Eagles have Rouse at third, Cahoy at short, Blackburn at second, Emmy at first, Reed in left, Schofield in center, and Manerick in right, and a battery made up of catcher Harley Kinnison and pitcher Grace Druki. Chuck Price, assisted by Alex Miller, and Alex Miller, formerly Alex Price, is his daughter. She was a catcher on the first O'Neill softball, the first school season softball team O'Neill had back in 2007, and also assisted by another former player, Aaron Boyle. So here is time back, play about to resume. Paulson still up there with runners now on second and third and nobody out. I'm going to check a uniform number. Did they sub somebody in for Paulson? As I see, looks like number 12. I'll have you check that.
Yep, 12.
So that would actually be what's listed as Peterson on the roster, but Peterson was listed as number, or is it Brooke Peets? Excuse me, I looked, okay. So it is Brooke Peets up there, I apologize. Or 12 is?
Vokes.
Excuse me, Vokes is correct. Sorry, I'll get it right after the third try. Vokes up there actually batting. So that pitch was outside for a ball. Did not see her subbed in. Of course, the substitutions are not reported into us here in the press box, so it's Vokes batting for Paulson. We'll have to see if she stays in the game defensively. Pitch. So it's up high for ball 4. Yeah, I was thinking that's right, was as that'll load the bases up. Paulson, I said she was hit by a pitch, but it was a right-handed batter that was hit by the pitch, remember? And so I should have known right away with the lefty up there was a reserve player. So it was Vokes, as it was Paulson hit by that pitch, and maybe that's why they substituted it in for her, because she was hit on the elbow by that pitch. Although at the time, she did stay in the game. Here's Kaylee Wells. Bases loaded, nobody out for St. Paul. The pitch, down low to Wells, ball 1. So difficult situation here for the young Eagles trying to get out of this, trailing 4-1 here in the top half of inning number 5. St. Paul threatening to break it open. Wells, a walk and a sack bunt. Takes this one for a called strike 1. 1-1 to Kaylee Wells. Top of the order, Garick waits on deck. So again, I apologize there to Vokes, who came in to pinch hit for Paulson in the 8 spot. She's at first base after that walk. And that is swung on and missed by Wells. And that is, by the way, Georgia Volks, a sophomore. She's at first, Peterson at second, and Stepanek at third. Bases full of St. Paul Wildcats. And Wells up there with a 1-2 count. Drucke would love to get a strikeout here. Grace Drucke looking to bear down. Left-handed batter as well. The pitch. Swung on, punched foul. So the count holds at 1-2 to Kaylee Wells. One thing we didn't ask you, Haley, when you played T-ball softball, what was your uniform number? Do you remember?
I believe I was 2.
So you think that'd be the number you'd wear if you were playing high school softball?
Yes, I think so.
This one swung on and missed for strike 3 as Wells offered at it, and that is out number 1. That's a big one for O'Neill.
O'Neill actually doesn't have a number 2.
There you go. Maybe they let you. I don't think the NSA will let you do softball and volleyball in the same season. The number of the great Yankee shortstop Derek Jeter, though, was number 2.
That's the nice thing is softball you can do in the summer if you do play volleyball.
Correct, yes. This one is pitch high. The runner from first went all the way down, but Emmy was coming in to back up the throw, so the runner Vokes able to get back to first base. But St. Paul not wanting to risk anything there. It looked like that wild pitch actually caromed off one of the support beams on the fence and came back to Kinnison. So a 1-0 count to Gowrich with bases loaded and now 1 out. Stepanek walked. Peterson with a bunt single. Vokes pinch hit and walked in the 8 spot, and then Wells struck out. So bases full, 1 out, the pitch. Gowrich takes it for a called strike 1. 1-1 to Sydney Gowrich, with Carly Veith waiting in the on-deck circle. And I guess I don't know, like in volleyball, do they let you choose your number usually, or do you just get assigned one?
You get to choose, but seniors get first choice.
There you go, okay. This one swung, ground ball to third. Rouse tried to backhand it. It's fair. It'll be in for a hit, and then you may get interference or obstruction on Rouse. Are they calling it? Yeah, that's what he called, delayed interference. The run scored, so it's a moot point. So that's going to be a 2-run single for Gowrich.
That was a great hit right down the line.
Yeah, Rouse tried to backhand. Stepanek scored. Peterson scored. Vokes went to second. Gowrich, and then Rouse, her momentum actually took her over into the base path. And so as the runner, Peterson, was coming around third, she bumped into her. And you saw Gary Davis. We saw him, and our Eagle Eye viewers saw him stick out the left arm. He had delayed obstruction there on the defense. And really, Rouse really just a victim of circumstance there, not much she could do. So a 2-run single for Garrich, who continues to play well in this one for St. Paul, and they have a 6-1 lead. Pitch was low. There go the runners. And advancing to third base is Vokes and Garrich to second. And so St. Paul, that pitch was actually called a strike, I beg your pardon, to Veith. And so runners on second and third, still just one out. And Carly Veith up there, the shortstop, with an 0-1 count. Drucke's pitch. Swung on, hit in the air to center, right at Schofield. She makes the catch. Runner at third tags, throw, the plate's going to be cut off. And St. Paul has a 7-1 lead. Vokes scores on a sacrifice fly by Veith for out number 2. On the play, Garrich tagged and went to third. So 7-1 Cats with Wagner up there and Garrich at third. Charlie Wagner, 3 walks tonight. And they have a run out of her spot, the 3 spot in the order, although it came from Sack, the courtesy runner. You're allowed to courtesy run for the pitcher and the catcher in fast pitch softball. The pitch. This one's inside for a ball. So did you pick number 2 for volleyball?
I'm actually number 6 because of my sister.
Now you're getting in my territory. I like this. That's the number of Tony Oliva, the great Minnesota Twin. Now you're talking.
I've heard of him, yes.
Hitting the air to right, a long run from Monerick. She's there and makes the catch for out number 3.
Great catch by Emerson Monerick.
It really was. She made a nice break. She really made it look pretty routine, actually, as she had a bit of a run there to get that one. But some damage done by St. Paul. They get 3 runs on 2 hits. There were no errors, and there was 1 runner left on base. After 4.5 innings of play, your Pinnacle Bank score, it is St. Paul 7 and O'Neill 1, our Pinnacle Bank score. Back to Kearney Park after you listen to these messages.
My family has been in this business for a long time, and we've always put the community first.
Our goal when we wake up every morning is how can our communities get to the next level?
Here at the bank, we're very community involved. We definitely like to serve on our committees. Working somewhere that allows me to continue to do that is awesome.
My parents work together in this bank. My grandparents work together in this bank.
Being locally owned, being family owned, it is fun to share that spirit.
The reason I like working for Tri-County Bank is the one-on-one contact with our customers.
People know that they can call any of us here if they really need something on my cell phone at 8 o'clock at night. It doesn't matter. That relationship is huge, especially in this day and age. It's just important for me that I could be a part of my family's legacy and keep this bank going, hopefully on to the 5th, 6th, 7th generation.
In the bottom of the 5th, Sydney Burkle standing in, takes the first one down low for ball 1. It's Burkle, then Monerick, then Kinnison. If somebody would reach base, Schofield would bat. Burkle a line out back in the 2nd, so she's 0 for 1. O'Neill held to just 3 hits thus far. Wagner. The pitch. This one's a called strike on the outside corner. And Haley Schlunz, you did the bottom of the 4th inning play-by-play. Do you want to do it again this inning?
Sure,
Okay,
I'd love to.
I'll turn it over to Haley Schlunz with a 1-1 count on Burkle.
Here's the pitch by Wagner, and that makes contact with Sydney Burkle, and it goes out for a foul ball to the left.
Yeah, Addie Wagner there gave a good chase there, but ran out of room along the fence over near the O'Neill dugout.
Burkle, a right-handed batter.
Yeah, 1 and 2 the count on her, and Burkle, she's a senior too. Wow, I lose track so quickly.
Here's the next pitch. It is a little high for Wagner. 2-2 count. Here's the pitch. And Burkle strikes and is out. Next coming up is number 5. That's Emerson Monerick. She is a sophomore.
It's a 4th strikeout for Charlie Wagner, the starting pitcher who's still in there for St. Paul.
Monerick, good stance. She swings on that one. Good strike down the middle by Wagner.
St. Paul, a very complete-looking team. They've also, the defense behind Wagner has been very good as well. They have not committed an error tonight in this game.
Monerick, pretty tall, kind of has to bend down more than the shorter players on the O'Neill squad. That one will be a ball for Wagner.
Yeah, we got a good look at Monerick back in the play that ended the top half of this inning. We talked about it. She really made a nice break on that fly ball that she tracked down in right field.
Made it look easy. Here's the pitch, and that one is a little high again for Wagner. Your count is 1-2. And there is another ball for Wagner.
So now a 3-1 count on Monerick as the Eagles obviously looking for base runners, down 7-1, looking to get the offense going here in the bottom of the fifth.
Monerick is ready. Here's the pitch by Wagner, and that one is right down the middle. Strike for Wagner.
And I think you see that point there. It was a 3-1 count, and Monerick looked like she was taking all the way as O'Neill trying to get base runners on in any way possible.
Here's the pitch, and right down to right field, and a great catch by Ella Peterson to get Monerick out. Great run for it.
That really was. Wow, Peterson really got a nice break there. And I'll have you put the binoculars on and see. I think that is Vokes in center field, is it not, Haley? We'll try to get a number there as Peterson, I think, has left, or Paulson, excuse me, I think, has left the game. And I can try to see if I can
Number
identify.
12?
And that, yes, that is Vokes, correct. She stayed in the game defensively to play center field did Georgia Vokes. Yeah, back to you. Great call there, and a nice catch there along the right field line. That looked like it was going to drop in for a base hit and maybe extra bases, and Peterson ran over there and took a hit away from Emerson Monerick.
And up next, we do have number 3, Ellie Hoffman. She's a sophomore. We haven't seen her in the batting line, correct?
Correct. I did see her in the JV game, but not here in the varsity. That is correct.
Getting some varsity minutes for Ellie Hoffman. She is from St. Mary's.
And she's a sophomore, is that right?
Yes.
That's what I thought. And she's batting in the spot for Kinnison. My guess is they may re-enter Kinnison defensively.
And there is a strike for Wagner. It is now a 1-1 count.
Yeah, O'Neill last year they lost Pastolka, Smith, Kahoy. We talked about. I'll have Haley next inning run down all those seniors O'Neill lost from a year ago.
Here's the pitch, and another great strike right down the middle for Wagner. Hoffman getting a little frustrated, the left-handed batter.
So Wagner looking for strikeout number 5 and just a pitch away from doing that.
And here's the pitch. A little high for Wagner.
Yeah, nice job by Hoffman. Those are tough. When you have 2 strikes, anything seems like tough to lay off of.
Definitely have to have a good hand-eye coordination to be a very good softball player, and a lot of these girls have that.
Yeah, Hoffman, left-handed batter.
Here's the pitch, and then we have another strike to force 3 outs.
Yes, and of the 5 strikeouts by Wagner tonight, that was the first one looking. So the Eagles gone here in the bottom half, inning number 5. No runs, no hits. There were no errors, and no runners left on base. Through 5 complete, Pinnacle Bank scored is St. Paul 7 and O'Neill 1. Back to Kearney Park after you listen to these messages.
Who do you trust to take care of you during an emergency? With over 40 years of experience, Riser Insurance helps their clients professionally and efficiently. They specialize in home, auto, business, and life and health insurance, as well as farm and crop coverage and retirement services. Riser Insurance provides experience and excellence when you need it most. Stop in at 217 South 4th Street in O'Neill or call 402-336-1983 for all your insurance and retirement needs.
There is a place that gives you the freedom to find your frontier, a place to explore and surpass boundaries, a place where you can be yourself and discover your potential. A place where ideas are as open as the land surrounding you. A place where you can rise above to see the possibilities in what lies ahead. Chadron State College. Follow your frontier. Start your journey at csc.edu.
Reed Smith was left.
10.
Oh, sorry about that. I said
No, you're good.
Yeah, and Showan was center. Yep.
5, 4, 3.
As Addie Wagner stands in, she has a 1-1 count on her. It's the 4, 5, and 6 hitters for St. Paul in the top of the 6th. They lead O'Neill 7-1. Glad you have you, KBRX O'Neill. Also on Eagle Eye Broadcasting. It's Wagner, Paxton, Stepanek. If somebody would reach base, Peterson would bat. And earlier, Haley Schlunz, we talked about how young this O'Neill team is, and you have the list of seniors from last year's O'Neill team.
Yes, so they lost a lot of people, including Ryan Pistolka. She was a pitcher, along with another pitcher, Emma Smith, who also played left field.
Ball 3 to Wagner.
We had Cahoy on second, her younger sister being Brooklyn Cahoy, who is shortstop as of now. Emma Reed, who was third. Mariana Montes, who was a catcher, and she was quite amazing. And then Ava Shohan, who played center field.
Crown ball to short, a bad hop there. Cahoy, boy, they really jumped up on her late. They'll probably scored an error, but certainly a tough hop there for Brooklyn Cahoy on that hard ground ball by Addie Wagner. And so if that gets changed to a hit, I wouldn't be surprised. It looked like it really jumped up late. And then some other O'Neill seniors as well.
We had Maddie Jacobowski and Mallory Scott.
They played in reserve roles last year. So, 8 seniors. That's one of the bigger classes of softball seniors that O'Neill has ever had.
A lot to miss. So this is kind of a building year, and hopefully they can do some good things this year.
Wagner is be a wild pitch for ball 1, and down to second goes Addie Wagner. So St. Paul threatening to add their lead. They have Wagner at second base with nobody out, and the catcher Taylor Paxton up there with Stepanek waiting on deck. Earlier in the ballgame, Nora Paulson, as this one is, hit in the air to right. Monerick has it measured. She makes the catch and makes a strong throw into Cahoy at short. Runner has to hold. So
Monerick doing a great job out in right field.
She continues to impress there. Again, had to make a pretty good run there, although she covers some ground with a stride as well, and she got there in plenty of time to retire Paxton. And here's Stepanek with a runner at second.
She's also a very good track athlete as well, I believe.
Stepanek, the left fielder, she has walked 3 times in this game. As they were not sure what they were checking on, something down there. Is this this may be pinch hitter? It is. Check and see here for St. Paul. Yeah, Allie Dugan now batting in that spot for Stepanek. That was the pause in the action. She pops one up on the right side, and Blackburn has it measured. Runner at second tags. You don't see this happen much in the infield, but alertly Addie Wagner tags and goes to third on that pop-up to the second baseman, Aubrey Blackburn. But now 2 outs for the O'Neill defense. And here's Ella Peterson. Yeah, that is Peterson, the right fielder. Peterson scored in her last at-bat. She's 1 for 3 tonight. Driven in by a Garick single. Drukey's pitch, down low, ball 1. 1-0 to Ella Peterson with Vokes waiting on deck. Vokes came in for Peterson back an inning ago. We said Nora Paulson was hit on the elbow, on the left elbow by a pitch. She did stay in the game and run the bases, but since then they've subbed in for another pop-up on the right side. Blackburn has it measured a la Willie Mays. She makes the basket catch, and St. Paul gone in the top of the 6th. No hits. There was an error and 1 runner left on base. After 5.5 innings of play, your Pinnacle Bank score, it is St. Paul 7, O'Neill 1. Back to Kearney Park after you listen to these messages.
State Farm agent Susan Wakefield is here to help protect all the moving parts of your life. With auto, home, life, and financial services, Susan Wakefield and her team make it simple to bring together what matters to you.
Safety, reliability, and the most propane storage in the region. Solutions and service you can count on with Farmers Pride, the trusted supplier of propane for over 50 years. With scheduled delivery and budget and prepay plans, Farmers Pride has the right solution to fit your propane needs. Farmers Pride offers residential, agricultural, and commercial propane sales and service across the Siouxland area. Farmers Pride, in the field, on your farm, in your community.
We have football tomorrow, Haley Schlunz.
We have EPPJ at Wausau, Randolph at Boyd County, and then Riverside at Summerland.
Once again, the Three River scorecard brought to you by Three River, your telecommunication leader in Lynch. And, oh, by the way, that Randolph at Boyd County game, that'll be the KBRX game tomorrow night. Tyler Holcomb, Tim Hansen will have that one for you from Spencer at 7 o'clock. Dr. Pepper pregame on the air at about 6:45. Called strike one to Loretta Schofield. Schofield, the leadoff hitter for O'Neill. And this, if O'Neill's going to get back in it, they were to Haley Schlunz for the play-by-play. Schofield, by the way, 0 for 2 tonight, has excellent speed.
Loretta, the left-handed batter, ready. Here's the pitch by Wagner. That looked right down the middle, but it was a little high. That'll be a ball.
Yeah, oftentimes the umpire will try to put their head at the top of the strike zone. If you see the catcher reach up, it tells them that that's a ball.
Here's the pitch. And tried a bunt, but that will get fouled off her bat.
So 2-2 on Loretta Schofield. Schofield also does a little pitching for O'Neill as well. I saw her pitch a little for the summer team as well.
Always have to have options, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially with Riley Selby getting sick.
Depth, such a key part of any sport.
Yes. Here's the pitch and hit right down the center, but a great catch by shortstop.
That's Veith.
But Schofield does manage to get on first base.
And there we see, or you eagle-eyed broadcast viewers really see the speed of Schofield. She can really get down line. She can really scoot, and a major threat to steal. You usually wouldn't think, oh, you're down 7-1, you wouldn't be running. But with Schofield, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see her run.
That's the perk of being a multi-sport athlete and being track for Schofield. Here's Brooke Reed, the senior, up to bat. That one will be a ball for Wagner.
Reed walked and scored in the first and was out on a 6-3 play in the third.
Here's Wagner with the pitch. And that one will be another ball. Schofield gets back to first.
Yeah, and the thing we do have to factor in, Schofield, that outstanding speed that we've well addressed, but the catcher, Paxton, does have a really strong arm as well, and she's not afraid to use it. We saw it there with the throw to first.
Here's the pitch. And Reed hits that one. That'll be a foul ball to the right. Count is 2-1.
Cahoy waits on deck, and then Emmy drew key if the inning would continue. O'Neill with just one run that came way back in the first on a single by Emmy that scored Reed.
Here's the pitch by Wagner. That'll be a ball.
So Reed now a favorable hitter's count, 3-1 to Brooke. Reed really has the open stance, that left foot at back almost on the chalk of the batter's box.
And we have another ball that will make Brooke walk and push Schofield to second. And up next to bat, we have the junior Brooklyn Cahoy, shortstop for the O'Neill squad.
And conventional wisdom said you would bunt here to move the runners, but O'Neill down by 6 runs with a good hitter up there like Cahoy, a chance they'd let her swing away. Confident, experienced player, a junior who's played since her freshman year.
A lot of experience for Cahoy. Here's the pitch. That will be a strike for Wagner.
Cahoy, a state qualifying pole vaulter for the Eagle track and field team this past May.
Here's the pitch, and that'll be a little high for Wegner. 1-1 count for Coy.
But Coy, she plays, is the track and field stir, but also plays a lot of softball through the year.
And there's a good hit by Brooklyn Coy, but it will be a foul ball.
And as I suspected, they were going to let her swing away, down 7-1. Definitely a player. She gets a hold of one, she could bring a couple runs in. Speaking of players who can do that, Emmy waits on deck.
Here's Coy. And that will be a ball for Wegner.
That's one of those pitches, if it's 3-0, you might get that call, but, your strike three usually has to be better than strike one in a 3-0 count. I think just like I agree with Gary Davis, just above the strike zone.
2-2 count. Cahoy with a pop fly. And shortstop with an amazing catch. That's Veith.
Right.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Veith, yes, correct. And infield fly rule in effect as, of course, that's to protect the runners on base. If there's runners on first and second or first, second, and third and less than 2 outs, anything that the umpires judge that an infielder could make with ordinary effort, they'll call the batter automatically out, and then the base runners could advance at their own discretion.
And up we have Autumn Emmy, the senior. And as we know her, she has an amazing hit out to left field, almost crossed the barrier for a home run.
One runs in, and Autumn Emmy with a run-scoring double and took that to the deepest part of left field. It scored Schofield. Reed winds up at third, and Emmy just inches away from a 3-run home run.
And up next to bat, we have Grace Drucke, the freshman pitcher for the O'Neill squad.
And for Emmy, her second run batted in tonight. She drove in Reed in the first, and now Schofield here in the sixth. Now 7-2. And runners on second and third with just 1 out, so O'Neill with a chance to really get back in this.
And Drucke's up. Wegner getting ready. And here's the pitch. That one is right down the middle. Good strike there by Wegner.
Drucke over to a strikeout, swinging in the first, and a fly ball to center in the fourth. If she'd get another fly ball to center, it'd get O'Neill a run closer because Reed would probably be able to tag and score.
And there is another strike for Wegner, and Reed gets back to third safely.
Yeah, throw down there by Paxton, and she's shown us that she'll throw in about any situation.
Drucke up to bat. Here's Wegner with pitch. And that one a little high, but is a strike swung at by Grace Drucke. 2 outs for the Wildcats.
And that's really a big out there for St. Paul and Wagner, is now they can put the infield back. And Rouse comes up.
Danny Rouse, a sophomore, playing third base, getting some varsity time.
She's 0 for 2 tonight, a line out to the left, a sharp line out in the second, and then she's struck out swinging in the fourth.
That one was a foul ball.
Wagner now with 6 strikeouts. So really solid performance for her on opening night.
And here's the pitch. Hit right down the center by Rouse, and it is caught by Paulson.
It was Volks, I think, actually.
Oh,
she subbed in.
Yep. Number 12, Volks, yes.
So O'Neill gone in the bottom of the 6th. The Eagles do get a run on 2 hits, one of those a double by Emmy. There were no St. Paul errors and 2 runners left on base. After 6 complete, your Pinnacle Bank score, it is St. Paul 7, O'Neill 2. Back to Kearney Park after you listen to these messages.
Ranchland Auto Supply is your locally owned and operated CarQuest store in downtown O'Neill, Nebraska. They have a large selection of parts and accessories to keep your vehicles and equipment running, including new heavy-duty truck parts to keep your truck in great shape for the long haul. Ranchland Auto delivers around O'Neill and to many local communities every day. Their employees are always ready to serve the community with a high level of knowledge backed by years of experience in automotive and equipment industry. Stop by or call Ranchland Auto Supply today and let a friendly part professional help you with all your automotive needs.
Welcome to another day in the middle of everywhere, where every second of sunshine, every dream, and every waking moment is everything we'll ever need. There's no place quite like our middle of everywhere. We're the bank that'll help you celebrate everything.
Player makes a good defensive play, and they're the first player to come up to bat, and that's the case with Georgia Vokes, who takes one down low. She came in and caught that fly ball off the bat of Danny Rouse, a play that ended the sixth inning, and Vokes up there now with a 1-0 count. St. Paul with one in the first, one in the third, two in the fourth, and three in the fifth. O'Neill with one in the first and one in the sixth. Down low the ball, and ball two. And you have to think, of course, it's going to get hotter, but Trukey, this one of the longer outings probably of her career, maybe starting to labor just a little bit. She's pitched now into the seventh inning. The pitch. This one swung on ground ball to third. Glove by Rouse. Across to Emmy. Not in time. She beat it out. So Vokes got down there very quickly, batting from the left-hand side. That'll be an infield single and bring up Kaylee Wells.
That was the good thing about having both Ryan Pistolka and Emma Smith, because they were both amazing pitchers, so you could kind of switch them out so that they could get a break.
Yes, and yeah, a very good point. Two seniors who really played a lot even back to their freshman and sophomore years. And O'Neill figures to have Selby back by next Tuesday, just hoping that somebody else isn't sick by that time.
Yes.
Have you been watching? This pitch is down low. The runner holds it first. Have you been watching the Little League World Series at all?
No.
I was watching the Washington-Maine game earlier today, and they were saying that, I think it was Washington, they were ahead 8-0, but they said, like 3 days ago when they first arrived in Williamsport, they said that almost the whole team had the flu, and so they were glad that that didn't strike during one of the times of one of their games. Pitched down low to Kaylee Wells. 2-0 to Wells with Vokes at first and nobody out. Top half inning, number 7, a game scheduled for 7 innings. Glad to have you again on KBRX O'Neill 102.9 FM. Also on the internet at KBRX.com as this pitch is up high for a ball. And also glad to have you on Eagle Eye Broadcasting as well. Emily Morrow doing all the technical work for Eagle Eye Broadcasting, the new sponsor for that great organization. And Corey Mitchell, big thanks to him. He's the guy pushing the buttons back in the KBRX studio. Wells up there 3-0. The pitch, it's high. So Wells gets a 4-pitch walk, and they're on first and second with nobody out for Sydney Gawrick, who has singled twice tonight. And was called out for being out of the batter's box and also out 6-3. She's 2 for 4, but has had a good game. She's driven in a couple runs as well. Gawrick, the left-handed batting first baseman, showed bunt, took it for a strike. There goes the runner to third, and Rouse ducked under as if she was going to, I think Cahoy was over there backing her up. I think she thought Cahoy was going to take the throw perhaps. She ducked away, and on the what will be an error, Vokes comes around to score. On the play, Wells moves to second. The pitch was a strike to Gawrick, but the runner, Vokes, was in motion. O'Neill could not execute that throw down to third base. It got away, and Vokes just kept running and came in to score. Trukey. The pitch. This one's bunted foul. It was high and tight, but Gawrick put the bat on it. Takes it for fouls it off for strike 2. Veith waits on deck. And then Wagner. St. Paul and O'Neill to start the fall season on KBRX and also on Eagle Eye Broadcasting. We're glad to have you. Trukey, the pitch. Swan is punched to third. Rouse, low throw to first, and Gawrick beats it out. That'll be an infield single. One of those slap hits again by Gawrick. A play she was called out for earlier in the game, but that time able to execute it and beat out the infield single. There was no misplay by O'Neill as Rouse fielded it. The throw was a one-hopper, but it was scooped by Emmy, but it was just the speed of Gawrick beating that out. And here's Veith. 8-3 now, by the way, your score. 8-2, excuse me. St. Paul has the lead. Pitch down low, and down to second goes Gowrick. And you see this happen a lot with young teams, especially in an early season game where the Eagles maybe just have, under the pressure that St. Paul puts on a team, just wears down a little bit. But this is an O'Neill team that's done some really good things tonight.
Yes, I'm looking forward to watching their season.
This one swung on, popped up on the right side. Long run from Monerick. She can't make the catch there. One run is in, and to third base goes Gowrick, and a long run there for Monerick. It looked like she might be there in position. We'll score it, even though it did go off her glove. We'll score that as a hit, as she had to run quite a ways there along the right field line. At first I thought, well, maybe Emmy might have a play, maybe the second baseman, Blackburn, but the right fielder came on there, a long run along the line. Couldn't quite come up with that one. And so Wells scores on the play now 9-2 St. Paul. And second offering coming to Wagner now, who's up there. She fouls this one off. So Veith on second, Gowrick on third, and Charlie Wagner up there, 1-1 count with Addie Wagner waiting in the on-deck circle. St. Paul's really opened it up here the last couple innings. They scored 3 in the 5th and now have 2 here in the 7th. They lead it overall my score of 9-2. This one's high and tight. Ball gets back to the screen. Flip to Drucke. They may have her at the plate. They do. Good hustle there by Drucke and Kinnison. As the ball went back to the screen, Kinnison hustled after it, and they get Gowrick on what will go as a 2-1 put-out for out number 1. St. Paul, of course, the luxury, when you're up by 7 runs, you can take a few chances,
yes.
And that's what Gowrick did there.
That was a good risk.
On the play, Veith did go to third base. And Wagner up there, 2-1 the count. This one's a called strike 2 to Charlie Wagner. 1-2 the count. Addie Wagner waits on deck. Wagner stands back in. Right-hander, slightly open stance. Parents both in the St. Paul school system in some capacity, as Rob Wagner is the AD at St. Paul, the activities director, and Autumn Wagner doesn't teach but helps coach in the fall, and also one of the junior high track coaches for St. Paul as well. Ground ball, comebacker to Drucke. She goes to first for the out. Play at the plate and sliding in safely is going to be the runner Veith. So that'll add to the St. Paul total. They now lead at 10-2. 1-3 on the put out for out number 2. And here's Addie Wagner with nobody aboard. Eagles not a long way away there from being able to execute a 1-3-2 double play, but just not able to quite connect. Wagner fouls his first one out of play, and Addie Wagner is 2 for 4 tonight and has a couple runs batted in as well. She stands back in behind in the count 0-1 with Taylor Paxton waiting in the on-deck circle. Drucke checks the sign, comes plateward. This one swung on and missed for strike 2. 0-2 to Wagner. Third baseman, who is the JV pitcher for St. Paul. She looked pretty good in that early game. When Haley Schlunge, you were at volleyball practice yet at that time, but a player that might log a few varsity innings as well. This one's way outside and high. Drucke was trying to get her to go fishing. Wagner wasn't buying it. 1-2 the count to Addie Wagner. Addie Wagner is a sophomore, I believe. Yeah, and Charlie, her sister, is a junior. They also have an 8th grade brother who is a good athlete. Saw him last spring in track and field. This one swung on line, drive right up the middle. That's her game right there. All 3 of her singles been right up the middle, sharply hit by Wagner. Hit it right back where it came from. That's kind of Wagner's motto. And here is Taylor Paxton, the catcher. Paxton just 1 for 4 tonight, but she's put the ball in play every time. Reached on a single and also on a fielder's choice. So pretty good contact hitter here is Paxton. catcher with a good throwing arm. Ground ball weakly down the first base line. Emmy may try to tag her, underhand scoop, not in time. That'll be an infield hit. And not much Emmy could do. Autumn Emmy at first base. Grounded weakly down the first base line. By the time Emmy got to it, the base runner there, Paxton, already passed her.
You got to go get the ball first.
Yeah, Wagner to second. Isn't that the way it goes? And they're going to run, I believe, at first base for Paxton. And sometimes you can hit a screaming line drive, it's an out, and sometimes you can hit something 40 feet and it's a base hit.
Yes.
So runners on first and second for the Wildcats, and here is this Dugan, or do they bring Stepanek? Might be another hitter. Looks like another one of those long ponytails. I think it's number 14,
yes.
Audra Dugan. So Allie Dugan hit in this spot in the last at-bat. And now here's Audra Dugan getting a plate appearance. Runners on first and second, 2 out. 3 runs across for St. Paul here, top half of inning number 7. They lead it 10-2. Looking ahead to the bottom of 7th, O'Neill will have 7, 8, and 9 coming up. The pitch, down low for a ball. 1-0 to right-handed batting, Audra Dugan. Eagles with Rouse at third, Cahoy at short, Blackburn at second, Emmy at first. The pitch, swung on high heat from Drucke, swung on a miss for strike one, 1-1. Reed in left, Schofield in center, Emerson Monerick in right, catcher Harley Kinnison, pitcher Grace Drucke. The pitch, outside for a ball, 2-1 to Audra Dugan. And one of the things I forgot to check, but I'm assuming that I assume they're sisters, Allie and Audra.
Yeah.
They sound like they freshman and sophomore. Sounds like sisters to me, but that's some speculation on my part. Pitch was high, 3-1 to Audra Dugan, with Ella Peterson waiting in the on-deck circle. Eagles trying to get out and get back to the plate. This one is down low, so a walk issued to Dugan. That'll load him back up.
Loaded
for
bases.
Ella Peterson. And Peterson, she is 1 for 4 tonight. She's put the ball in play every time. She singled and scored back in the 5th. Pitch. Swung on ground ball to third. Glove by Rouse. Step on the bag at third for the force out. So Peterson, give her credit for reaching on a fielder's choice, but they do the Eagles, Addie Wagner at third base, and a long top of the 7th that saw St. Paul send 9 players to the plate comes to an end. St. Paul gets 3 runs. They get those on 4 hits. There were no errors and 3 runners left on base. After 6.5, your Pinnacle Bank score, it is St. Paul 10 and O'Neill 2. Back to Kearney Park after you listen to these messages.
Are internet speeds passing you by? Warp Networks Incorporated has a game plan for you. We provide high-speed wireless internet for both personal residences and businesses at competitive rates. Contact our team at 402-302-0436 or at JNS TV and Electronics at 402-336-3642. Warp Networks Incorporated, your locally owned wireless internet provider.
All right, got 5, 4, 3, 2. Your life.
Welcome back to Kearney Park as O'Neill comes to bat in the bottom of the 7th. Last chance for the Eagles. They trail this one 10-2. We'll take a look ahead at your Gutschel Cole Pelster broadcast calendar. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Tyler Holcomb, Tim Hansen in Spencer as Boyd County, the Spartans, play host to Randolph in high school football, 8-man football. They'll be on the air at about 6:45 with the Dr. Pepper pregame. First pitch to Burkle, outside for a ball. Once again, this look ahead of the KBRX broadcast calendar brought to you by your eye care professionals, Gutschel, Cole, and Pelster Eye Care in O'Neill. They're located on 10th Street. Call them for an appointment today, 336-2505. Swung on, second pitch swinging. Burkle pops it up on the right side, and the second baseman takes it there. That's Wells for out number 1. So Burkle gone on a pop-up to Kaylee Wells. And here is a pinch hitter, and that is Ramsey Hofer. And Emma, she is in what grade? Or Emma, she is
she's a
Haley,
sophomore.
Sophomore.
She's a St. Mary sophomore.
And that is outside for all. I don't think she played softball last year, did she?
I think she did. She just didn't
Okay.
get a lot of
on the
varsity.
JV. Okay.
Yep.
That was a name I didn't work a lot of O'Neill games last year.
Yeah.
This one is a ball 2 to Hofer. With, we'll see if a pinch hitter stepped into the on-deck circle. This one is a called strike 1, 2-1.
Number 10, Mitchell, Grace Mitchell.
Grace Mitchell, another freshman. This one swung on and missed for strike 2. 2-2 to Hofer. Saw her play a little bit in the JV game as well. Number 7 on that blue jersey. This one swung on and missed for strike 3. So Eagles down to their last out, and it will be Grace Mitchell pinch hitting for Kinnison. Eagles trail it 10-2. And St. Paul looking to start the year 1-0. The pitch. This one is a called strike 1 to Mitchell. Grace Mitchell really big into the 4-H. I don't know if she's in for it, but she shows a lot of livestock in the summertime also during the school year. Goats, I believe, sheep, also some pigs as well. And she's traveled quite extensively doing that as well. I know into Kansas for sure. 0-2, Eagles down their last strike. The pitch swung on and missed for strike 3, and that's the ball game. The Eagles go in order in the bottom of the 7th. No runs, no hits, no errors, no runners left on base. Your Pinnacle Bank final score, it is St. Paul 10, O'Neill 2. Back to wrap it up after you listen to these messages.
Who do you trust to take care of you during an emergency? With over 40 years of experience, Riser Insurance helps their clients professionally and efficiently. They specialize in home, auto, business, and life and health insurance, as well as farm and crop coverage and retirement services. Riser Insurance provides experience and excellence when you need it most. Stop in at 217 South 4th Street in O'Neill or call 402-336-1983 for all your insurance and retirement needs.
Are internet speeds passing you by? Warp Networks Incorporated has a game plan for you. We provide high-speed wireless internet for both personal residences and businesses at competitive rates. Contact our team at 402-302-0436 or at JNS TV and Electronics at 402-336-3642. Warp Networks Incorporated, your locally owned wireless internet provider.
Stadium Sports is your one-stop shop in downtown O'Neill or online at www.stadiumsportso'neill.com. For all your everyday, all-day activewear needs, there is something for everyone. Specializing in screen printing and embroidery, we have a graphic artist and equipment in store to get all your ideas done in a timely fashion. Supporting all athletes and customers near and far.
The St. Paul coach just got 100 win.
Are internet speeds passing you by? Warp Networks Incorporated has a game plan for you. We provide high-speed wireless internet for both personal residences and businesses at competitive rates. Contact our team at 402-302-0436 or at JNS TV and Electronics at 402-336-3642. Warp Networks Incorporated.
Welcome to the Rank Postgame Report, where the St. Paul Wildcats have just started their season with a win, a 10-2 win over O'Neill. And Haley Schlunz, we heard more of a cheer from the St. Paul team than you usually would hear. It's just the first game of the year, but there was good reason for that we learned during the break.
The St. Paul softball coach just got her 100th win
of her career. So, yeah, congratulations there to Kaylee Volk for that great milestone in her career, getting her 100th win. Here were the totals for this game. For St. Paul, Item scoring 10 runs on 11 hits. They didn't commit an error, and they left 11 runners on base. For O'Neill, 2 runs on 5 hits, committed 2 errors, and left 4 runners on base. Winning pitcher was Charlie Wagner, and by my book, I'll count up her strikeouts. I believe she had 7. Yeah, 7 strikeouts for Charlie Wagner. Grace Drucke, the youngster pressed into service tonight for O'Neill, suffered the loss as the Eagles dropped to 0-1, but a really good effort out of a young O'Neill team. Keep in mind, this game was only 4-1 going into the 5th inning. That's when St. Paul kind of opened it up. They got 3 in the 5th and then 3 more in the 7th to pull away for the 10-2 win. And so we still have a couple items of business to take care of here on our Rank post game, and one of those will be our H&R Block Impact Play of the game, and also our Stadium Sports Top Dog Athlete of the Week nominee, and we'll have those for you after you listen to these messages.
Welcome to another day in the middle of everywhere, where every second of sunshine, every dream, and every waking moment is everything we'll ever need. There's no place quite like our middle of everywhere. We're the bank that'll help you celebrate everything it brings. Because we're more than a bank in Nebraska. We're Nebraska in a bank. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be.
Look at our H&R Block Impact Play of the game, and also our Stadium Sports Top Dog Athlete of the Week nominee is the St. Paul Wildcats down there on the field. We see them celebrating that 100th win for Coach Kaylee Volk, so congratulations to her. Now, we won't name St. Paul nominees because they're outside of our coverage area. I think Eagle Eye does that sometimes, I guess. I should be better prepared for that. We could do that for Eagle Eye, I guess, if that's all right. For Eagle Eye, broadcasting for the player of the game for St. Paul, you probably look at a player like Charlie Wagner, the pitcher, complete game with 7 strikeouts. Garrick was so big there with her bat, driving in runs. Addie Wagner with a good game at the plate as well. Now, for O'Neill in this 10-2 loss, our Stadium Sports Top Dog Athlete of the Week nominee is going to be Autumn Emmy. Haley talked a lot about her power at the plate going into the game, and Autumn Emmy really showed it for us tonight. She was 3 for 3 at the plate. She drove in both O'Neill runs. She had 2 singles and a double, and played a really good first base as well. And then a lot of different ways we could go for our H&R Block impact play impact player of the game, but we're going to go for O'Neill with the young catcher Harley Kinnison, as Kinnison there playing tonight in her first varsity start as a catcher for the fall ball team. And, she really hustled there. She had a play at the plate where she hustled after a pitch that got away and tagged a runner out at the plate. We also saw her, she threw out a runner, 2-6. She threw out Veith in the 3rd inning trying to swipe second base. And then we also saw her at the plate hustle after one and fire it to Drucke on a 2-1 put out the plate on a pass ball to get Garrick. So, and that's a tough job, not as hot as it's going to get, but she's got the catcher's equipment on back there, and she showed a lot of hustle. So we'll go with Harley Kinnison, the O'Neill catcher, for our H&R Block impact plays of the game. Now, if you think we got it wrong on the Stadium Sports end, of course, you can nominate a different player. Just send some details to sports at kbrx.com. We would need the athlete's name, their grade, and a little bit about their performance. And they have to be from the KBRX coverage area. And then we'll put them on a list of nominees, and then we'll name one boy winner and one girl winner each Wednesday night on the Dog Pound Sports Show. So Haley Schlunz, hey, thanks a lot for the broadcast. You said your first softball broadcast on the radio, I know, and maybe one other one on Eagle Eye. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So hopefully we'll get another chance. I know you got a really busy fall with volleyball, but maybe you'll get another chance to do another game sometime.
Yes, I'd love that.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. That'd be great as well. I sure hope you enjoyed the broadcast on Eagle Eye and also on KBRX O'Neill. Once again, your Pinnacle Bank final score, it was St. Paul 10, O'Neill 2. For Emily Morrow, for our KBRX studio engineer, Corey Mitchell. I'm about ready to sign off. Be sure to say thanks to all the fine sponsors, members of the KBRX Sportscasters Club, for making this broadcast possible. So once again, for Emily Morrow, for Corey Mitchell, for Haley Schlunz, I'm Gary Hostert. So long.